All right, what's up, guys? So we're live with John Anthony.
I'm
Awesome.
actually here this time. Sorry about the last time. I was up to like 6 a.m. speaking to a client in a different time zone, and I fucking
I was making jokes to the audience that you're most likely having an orgy or something. In all likelihood of probabilities, that was one of the most likely scenarios that was happening. So, guys, we're going to be answering everyone's questions. So start putting the questions in the comments here. I'm also live on my IG, but for anyone that is tuning on my IG, I cannot see the comments. So if you want to ask me a question, go over to my YouTube and ask the questions there. Apparently the Instagram just didn't work anyway, so all good. It's got a notification. But yeah. What have you been up to this week, brother?
Let me give a quick background about myself for people that aren't familiar.
Cool.
So I've been coaching dating stuff since 2009, so about 17 years. Recently hit 2,000 body count in July of last year. 26,000 phone numbers in the phone. Lived all around the world, just like Brad. And yeah, I like collaborating with the other top guys because there's really only like a handful of us that are, 1,000+ lay count legitimately, and have a whole bunch of proof of results, right, in the way of receipts and in-field footage and all that stuff. So most people in the space, unfortunately, have zero proof and tend to not know what the fuck they're talking about. So it's always good to collaborate with, another guy that's at my level.
Yeah, absolutely, man. There's so many guys out there that are trying to be pickup instructors that are like 10 lay count, 20 lay count, 30 lay count, and even 100 lay count is suboptimal for someone that's meant to be an expert coach,
Yep. I've even caught people that have like 5 or 6 lay count just from Tinder, and they've never gotten a cold approach lay, but they're teaching cold approach.
Right? Absolutely ridiculous, man. That is like, if they're charging normal prices for boot camps, it's like thievery. I mean, if someone has that kind of experience, you should be paying them $50 for a fucking coaching, bro. Like, should be like basically free at that point, right? Even when I first started coaching, I was at like 200 lay count, and I was only charging like $300 or $400, bro, for like a weekend, because I knew that it wasn't fair to charge a lot of money when I didn't have much experience. But I went from there, I started charging more. But yeah, there's guys out there that have like 6 lay count, don't know what they're fucking talking about, charging $10,000. And the guys like sometimes come out worse than they started. They like literally lost, they get the wrong fucking information.
Yeah, there's a lot of like the blind leading the blind in this space. So you have a lot of guys that suck at the game that are trying to give advice to other guys that suck at the game. And that's essentially the manosphere in the community. And then you have these poisonous ideologies that victimize people and turn them away from, any kind of real solution. Like you have the red pill, which is telling them to basically hate women, be confrontational against women, be misogynist. The black pill and the looks maxers are saying that it's all looks, which is total BS. Women respond to behavior, right? But most of the people in this space that are giving advice, just are straight up unqualified. And so then their advice is harmful because it's teaching guys, incorrect strategy or no strategy. And then guys continue to fail.
I was telling you about that. Remember I was telling you about that TV show that was looking for dating experts?
Yep.
Yeah, so it turned out that's a little bit dodgy, because I looked into it, and their alleged TV streaming website only gets 3,000 views a month. So then I looked into it more, and apparently when you sign a contract with them, there's like these weird terms. So you have to pay to get the license of your video, and you have to pay for them to film, and you're essentially just paying for them you're paying them for the privilege of being filmed. And apparently it's like $10,000 minimum, and they try to get you to $50,000 and shit. So the whole thing's just a BS. And then you pay all this money, and you get 300 views.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so when I realized that, I just like ignored them. I was like, no.
Yeah, for the Manosphere documentary, like Louis Theroux came and followed my life around in Brazil, followed my training program around in Miami. and that they didn't offer any money, right? It was just completely. I did it for the exposure, and then they ended up cutting all my parts over 30 scenes.
They want the people they're filming to pay them.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, so it's probably some marketing scheme, I suppose. Yeah. Anyone that wants to ask questions, drop them in the comments below. But yeah, I noticed that whenever I do content about traveling and certain cities, it gets a lot of views. So we can talk about that stuff a bit, and we can talk about some red pill content. I know you have a lot of thoughts about red pill. You know, I'm really limited with that. I don't talk about it very much. You know,
well, I've critiqued a lot of the coaches. Like common things they say is that like it's not worth fucking hot girls because they're too obsessed with makeup or other stupid reasons. Like, but I look at that as just like a cognitive dissonance cope. Like they don't have access to hot girls. They've never fucked hot girls. And so they kind of take the position, well, we don't want them anyways, right? And a lot of the red pill guys have these things that sound good in theory, but it's pretty shitty advice. Like FitX Fearless, he says that if the girl doesn't respond right away to a text, you should block her. Whereas you and I know that you need to follow up multiple times until they respond, right? He says just block them.
I only block the girl is if she like asks for money or says she's a sex worker. Otherwise, I'm not going to block her because there's always a possibility she comes around. Like, what's the point in blocking a hot girl just because she doesn't respond when maybe she has a boyfriend or there's some bullshit situation, and in 3 months she randomly like remembers you and hits you up, but you blocked her and she was going to say, "Hey, can I come over?" Or she was like, "When are you free?" and you didn't get that text, and you just like pop lock yourself with a hot girl because you got by her. Essentially,
yeah. I mean, like, but girls stall all the time, right? You and I know that you have to follow up. You have to double and triple text all the time to get them to respond. And so, these coaches that are saying block them or never hit them up again, that's a huge mistake.
So the reason I don't hit them up again is just because I have too many new leads coming in to even try to reactivate old leads. But if I'm not getting heaps of new warm leads, I'll go back to the old leads and hit them back up again. I mean, that's just standard measure. I mean, that's obvious you should do that. I mean, it's obvious for us, not obvious for other people. But yeah, I prioritize warm leads, and when the warm leads have all been messaged, I go back to semi-warm leads, and then I go to cold leads. Yeah, and obviously I'll go out and do cold approach as well. I tend to do way more cold approach when I don't have too many warm leads. So when I haven't got like a lot of hot girls in the pipeline, I'll go, well, I've got to go out and approach like 20 girls today or something, or 10 girls. And then I'll get like usually when I go out and approach 20 girls, I'll get at least a date, sometimes several just from that. It might be 3 or something. It's pretty good. But that being said, I've been in Asia for a long time, so it's a little bit skewed and a little bit easier. I'm going to admit that. But when I'm in the US and America, Australia and whatnot, it's still pretty good. And I'll be going to the US soon. If you want, you can. Maybe we should wait for more viewers to come in before we start plugging anything, because we only got 7 viewers. We might get to 20 or more. I don't know. I think it usually takes about 20 minutes for people to join in, from my experience.
Yeah.
Someone's got a.
Yeah, people watch the replays as well. People will be watching this after the fact. But we have a link in the description for those of you that want to have a free strategy call with us. There's a link down in the description for that. And for those of you that want to follow me, we have my Rumble channel in the description as well.
Yeah, here's the link. I've just pinned it right here. And we've got a question here. We can get to some questions. What's the best strategy to pull when doing night game without a wingman?
I would say you want to isolate, right? You don't need a wingman if you're isolating. So let's say you're going to a group of 4 girls. You talk to the cute one that you like, you move her away from the group. And then when you're in isolation, you get into a makeout, and then you suggest leaving, and then you answer objections to leave. And since you're away from the friends aren't there to judge her while she's making out or to cock block her from leaving.
My general thing is I'll like go and approach a few girls. I'll do like a little like kind of lap around the club, just kind of zone out every single set, every single hot girl, and mentally note who I really want to approach, and then I'll go and just start approaching the ones that seem like they're going to be more open to approach. I'm not like, if the girl's like on a VIP table, and obviously I can't just walk into the VIP table because the bouncer's going to cop block me. I'm just going to mentally note that there's a hot girl there, and like tell myself, okay, when I get the chance, I'm going to approach her or whatever. And then I'm just going to go around the club and start approaching girls, and I'm going to screen them. I'm going to ask them who they're here with, what are their plans tonight? Are they like drinking? Do they live close by? And I'm going to find out if they're single and whatnot. And then I'm going to just like build rapport with them, like get a bit of flirtiness going. And if one of them hits on and the girl's like touching me and attracted and interested, I'm going to just like immediately trying to isolate or move her and potentially like get her to the bar, get her to a couch, talk to her more, and then try to pull her right up if that's possible. If not, I'm going to just like find the best options of the girls in the club by just walking around, approaching and screening the girls and seeing what's the best one, right? And I definitely don't need a wingman for that, but a wingman can be handy in the fact that they can literally like, you can tell them this is the girl I'm going for. If you see her leave the friends or something changes in the group, tell me immediately, because the girl you're going for might be in like a tricky situation, but as soon as she's out of that tricky situation, you might not notice because you're busy with another girl. Your wingman might come over and say, bro, the girl you're going for is leaving the club right now, go. And you're like, oh shit, need to get on that. So that wingman can be literally like a scout, but they also can come in and help you with the friends. If the friends are like, pop blocking, or if there's guys coming in, he can just distract them or whatever. But that's what you're talking about without a wingman, but you don't need a wingman. It just, if the wingman knows what he's doing, though, it can help. If your wingman doesn't know what he's doing, it can actually fuck you up, because he can like try to get attention from the same girl as you, and there's no point two guys trying to game the same girl. That's just stupid. I guess you've seen that. You've seen that a lot. I mean,
Yep.
Stupid though, isn't it? Here's another one. This is for you, John.
I've been to Greece on vacation. I lived in Poland and Ukraine, primarily in Warsaw and Kiev. I can't speak to the other countries. I think you've probably been to those other countries.
I've been to
Besides
Czech Republic and Hungary.
Yeah.
So I haven't been to Greece, but I can say that Czech Republic and Hungary are both very good. I would say Hungary has a slight edge over Czech Republic, because I think Hungary, the nightclubs are bigger. I just found there to be more local girls going out. In Czech Republic, I found that Czech girls aren't really out in the big bars. They tend to avoid them, and you end up just finding a lot of guys in them, or not many local girls, which is kind of annoying. But I feel like in Hungary it's easier to find local girls, and the Hungarians are probably friendly. I think that like back in the day, Czech Republic was very good, and then that got saturated, and then Hungary became good, and now Hungary's getting saturated, Poland's good, and then it kind of rotates. Like one city gets saturated, and then another city ends up being better, and then it could rotate back after people lose interest in one city. It's kind of, usually it comes in waves, because you'll have like thousands of guys coming to, have parties or pick up girls and shit, and like the local girls just disappear because they don't want to get bombarded by like drunk guys, and that ends up like not making it as good. But Czech could, in 1 year Czech could be good, and the next year it could be a bit worse. But I think they're overall good. Czech Republic and Hungary are good. I haven't been to Greece. They're good. I would say that Hungary has some pretty big nightclubs. That's pretty good. They're both good for Daygame. I think Daygame in Czech Republic and Hungary are very good, specifically because there's like this is more feminine, pretty girls that aren't overweight. Like if you go to like France or England, there's more fat, overweight girls. I think in Czech Republic and Hungary, the girls take care of themselves more. So you're just going to have more of a better body composition. The girls are going to be more attractive because of that. Yeah, if you go to England and France and whatnot, there's just, there's girls of underarm hair, there's fat girls and shit. It's not, it's not the best. Here's another question. How to create attraction while talking? Well, I think being sexual, building sexual tension. When you're talking to the girl, talking in a sexual tonality, slowing down your voice, being more suggestive, touching the girl, being physical. I mean, don't stand too far away. If you're closer to the girl and give her like sexual eye contact, then you're like, you don't want to be right up in front of her face because that's intimidating. But you want to be close enough to her so she can feel your presence. You know, a lot of guys don't get the proximity right. They're just too far away, or sometimes they get in way too close, and it's just like intimidating. So that's just one thing. There's a lot of things. What do you think?
I think when the guy is just exuding confidence and comfortable in his own skin and flirting and moving things forward, she's going to be naturally attracted. Guys focus too much on like doing fancy gamey gimmicky tricks to quote unquote build attraction. But I tell my clients to just assume attraction.
Absolutely.
Right. So before you go into the interaction or before you go on a date, you assume you're going to get the girl for sure. And you try to really believe that. Same thing in sales, like you're assuming the sale, right? And then that comes through in all your words and your body language, that you assume that you got her and that you believe you're good enough for her. Whereas most guys are like hoping they don't get rejected, and they ultimately don't believe they're good enough. And then that comes through in their words and body language and turns her off and makes her not attracted.
If you assume that the girl's attracted to you already, if you assume that she wants to have sex, if you assume that she like wants to rip your clothes off, that helps massively. Now, guys that are like relentlessly trying to make the girl attracted to them, it works counterproductively, because by trying to make someone like you, by trying to make someone attract to you, it actually, especially if it's obvious, it pushes them away. You know?
Yep.
It usually comes across as needy, especially when someone's inexperienced and they're coming from a place that they need it.
If a guy's doing like fancy gamey gimmicky shit, it's like, here's the girl's value. And if you saw yourself on her value, you wouldn't need to do any fancy gamey gimmicky shit because you already believe you're good enough. But when you think that you're not good enough because she's a hot girl and that you're lower value than her, and then you try to do these techniques to try to win her over or gain her attraction or her approval, you automatically signify implicitly that you're lower value because you wouldn't have to do all that stupid shit if you were already good enough. So when these guys are trying to do these little, fancy gamey gimmicky tricks, like the classic examples I think are like Todd V style game, Todd V dating. Like, I'm going to pretend I don't like her. I'm going to pretend she's like a sister to me or this or that. And they're not stupid. They know that you're there because you're attracted to them. And when you're trying to do these little tricks, you're just signifying that you're lower value and you're hoping one of your little cheap tricks will win her over, but it has the opposite effect.
Yeah, that's the thing. When I did Todd stuff, the on surface level, it looks very good and it sounds very good. And when Todd does it, it looks impressive. But then you see a student do it and it's just like, no, it doesn't, because they're coming from a place of neediness. It doesn't work. When you're trying to like use these tricks and stuff, you're thinking, okay, I'm looking for signs this is working. And while you're looking for signs this is working, you're like seeking validation or seeking approval. The girl notices that. And then she's kind of like, what the hell? Or if she doesn't give it to you, you kind of feel like you failed and it didn't work. And then you kind of demonstrate neediness and you just like did the opposite of what you're trying to do.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's why it doesn't work a lot. You need, I mean, it can work well, but it's just like sometimes very counterproductive, honestly. Whereas the guy could have just been acting normal and just push things forward and it would have worked better than just trying to push buttons and get attraction or do some like routine or try to cold read or try to do some role play that just is weird, you know? How to create attraction while talking to girls. Bro, did we just talk about this?
Yeah. You just said that one.
Do you get a bunch of rejections? Key is to not spam approach though, right? I think
everyone gets rejections no matter how good you get at this.
I think we got to be clear about what you mean by spam approaches. If you're leaving sets that are good to go to do the next approach, that's pretty dumb, right? Because your goal at the end of the day is to create a connection and pull a girl or have sex with a girl, or at least have a date or have a girlfriend, or whatever it is, right? And you're not going to get that if your focus is only to approach. You need to stay in the sets and make stuff happen, right? So a lot of guys just leave sets early to do the next approach. It's really dumb. I think there is some. When people quote unquote warm up, which I kind of disagree with for the most part, because I feel like warming up is coming from like a lower value, because you're pretty much telling yourself, I'm not good enough until I warm up, which is inherently low value, I think, a place to come from.
You never want to handicap yourself and think that you're not good enough.
Absolutely. But sometimes I'll be like, okay, I'm at the venue. I'm just gonna talk to a bunch of girls. I'm not gonna expect anything. And if I'm coming from that frame, I might just go and compliment a bunch of girls. And if one sticks, I'm gonna stay in there. But I might just go up to like 5 girls very quickly and give some compliment, and not try to stick in. But I know that that's not a good plan to pull. It might be just to like get yourself in the headspace of like talking to people. But I never like think of it as like I need to warm up, because I feel like I'm good enough no matter what. But yeah, like if you're like not approaching at all, and that's what it takes you to start approaching, it's good, right? Anything is better than nothing, essentially.
Yeah, well, let me make one more comment about that. So, like, a lot of guys think that, like, when you get advanced or elite in the pickup game or the seduction game, that rejections go away, but it's just simply not true. There exists a category of girls that have boyfriends or husbands. They don't want to cheat. There exists a category of girls that are just in a bad mood that day and they don't want to talk to anybody, or you're not their type, or there's all kinds of other things that are outside of your control. So it's the same as if you were like knocking doors and door-to-door sales. You're going to knock on some people's properties and they're going to say, get the fuck out of my yard, and slam the door. And you can never avoid those situations, just like you can never avoid opening a girl that tells you to fuck off. But the difference between a guy that's experienced at this and a newer guy is the newer guy will take the rejections personally and take it as a reflection that he's not good enough or that he sucks. And he'll reinforce these negative mindsets. Whereas a seasoned veteran knows, oh, that just happens. That one's a no-go. I'm gonna move on to the next one and not have my confidence be shaken. Right. So that's the difference. The advanced and experienced guy can weather the storm, quote unquote, and hit multiple rejections in a row and then still bring his A game on that next girl and then end up pulling her, for instance, because he didn't get deflated or let it impact him.
By the way, we have more viewers than what's reported here because there's more on Rumble as well. It's just reporting the YouTube viewers only. So there is more than this. So,
we're on Rumble, YouTube, and
Instagram. It wasn't there, but I got a message that it failed. So I don't know about Instagram. I'll find out later. I can't really check right now, but I'll find out after the stream. I have a hot girl I've been on a first date with. I can't pull her to my place. I can't pull to hers. I want to close the next day. She's hot. Where do I pull? You could book a hotel, but don't book a hotel preemptively because she might not come with you and you just wasted your money. So you could just get her really down, and after she's like agreed to come home with you or something, you could book the hotel then. Or you could. There's some different things you could do. Back in the day, I used to pull to like parks, toilets. As gross as it's there, I mean, I really don't like that, but you can do it. It just depends on the buying temperature and everything. Ideally, you should have a place to pull, because if you're a high value man, why the fuck don't you have like a bed that a private room that you can go to? You know what I mean? So that's something you really need to work on. Obviously, you need somewhere you can pull the girl where your mum's not in the room or you don't have someone in the room. So that should be your immediate focus. But in the meantime, you could be booking a cheap hotel room or something, but don't do that preemptively, because if the date goes nowhere, and it's going to pressure you, because you're going to feel like I booked this hotel and now I need to pull her there. And if you don't have much experience, it might put you under pressure and like choke you out, right? So yeah, what do you think about that?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's always ideal to pull to your place. For my clients that don't have their own place, I tell them to find girls that have their own place and pull to the girl's house. But beyond that, you got to get a fucking hotel or Airbnb, right? Unless you're gonna go fucking public somewhere.
Make an adventure. Say to the girl, I've always wanted to stay in an Airbnb in this area. Or make it like fun. So then you get the girl to agree with it, and then you know it's gonna work. But if you're just like, I booked an Airbnb because I want to fuck you, she's gonna be like, hell no. It's kind of, or she might say yes, but you're really cop-blocking yourself if you do that. Like, hey, look, I booked a hotel. I know I don't know you very well, but I was hoping you'd come there with me because I booked it. I don't want to waste my money. She's going to be like, what the fuck?
Yeah. I thought of a funny story. I had a client that was going to train with me, and he's like, yeah, I pulled in this back stairwell of this club and like fucked a girl in the stairwell. And he's like, I've done that like 4 different times. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. But it's like kind of clunky to bang on a stairwell. I go, I'm sure you prefer banging in a bed. He goes, I've never had sex in a bed. His only 4 experiences ever having sex were in that stairwell.
Holy shit, dude. He would have so much more fun in a bed.
Yeah.
Like you can't even cuddle or like make out properly. You're limited in the positions. Can't relax. And there's like constantly like potential people going past, dude. Not ideal. And when you're in a toilet, it's like, you know, the smell, and you know that the longer you're in there, someone's going to start knocking on the door. The security could realize a lot of pressure, a lot of shit that could go wrong, and it's just not comfortable. Kings of the game. Touche.
Yeah, we have. I think our collective phone numbers. We have about 60,000 plus phone numbers. So we've pretty much seen and done it all. We've interacted with literally tens of thousands of girls, been on thousands of dates, slept with thousands of girls. So, you know, there isn't really anybody at our level. I mean, Paul Jenka is running programs for me now, but he topped out, you know, in the multi-hundred lay count, like 250, 300, but he was mostly doing day game.
You know, when you get to the level of game we're at, you have like unique problems no one else has. So some unique problems I have that no one can relate to. And if I was to talk about some random guy about this, he would have zero relatability to it. And that is, I'm getting so many leads that my biggest restriction is spam filters by sending too many DMs on WhatsApp and Instagram and stuff. Instagram will say, you're sending too many messages. We're limiting your account for 48 hours. And I literally cannot even text the girl I'm meant to go on a date with because I've been blocked from messaging. Or WhatsApp will like say, you've been sending too many messages. We're not allowing you to send messages for 24 hours, or we're temporarily putting your account on hold. And I've consulted Meta AI about this, and it says you can only really get, because I was talking about cold approach on WhatsApp, it said you can only really message 20 cold leads a day from girls' numbers before WhatsApp could potentially start like restricting you for potential like misuse of customers.
That's such bullshit too, man. Before fucking Meta bought that shit, there was no limits like that. There was no bans.
Right. So I literally, my biggest bottleneck in game right now is I can only do like 20 to 30 new cold girls a day in the text funnel. And before I was doing 50, 60, and now I've like had to do less than that just because of that, because it's not worth getting banned and then destroying your whole rotation, your whole leads, all your messages, losing all your conversation history just because you're trying to text so many girls. So I'm literally handicapping myself because of the terms of service of these fucking messaging apps. And on top of that, I have like chodes and stuff around the world constantly searching for my WhatsApp and my Instagram, trying to get me banned. So I just have a lot of things that most guys wouldn't relate to that is like slowing me down. And I know you have similar shit. Like we can relate to each other on this level because most guys wouldn't even understand. They'll think we're lying essentially.
Yeah, and there's not enough time to see all of them either. I mean, like there's like 3 or 4 hot girls a day that want to meet up because I had a big rotation, and then there's the new ones and all that as well. And so you have to choose, like, I'm going to cancel on these ones, I'm going to flake on these ones, etc.
Yeah.
And so you're leaving different hot girls like not fucked that day, basically like stranded.
Yeah. I had to pass on sex right now because we're doing this live stream, and the girl was like, "Oh, can I stay and watch?" I'm thinking, absolutely not, because if she watches I'm going to have to limit what I say, and that's not good for the audience, and it could potentially cop block me. I'm going to be talking about me with other girls. That's not going to go down well, right? So I had to get her to leave. So I've got so many options that like I'm trying to like I strategically did this live stream at 1 a.m. because I thought, okay, 1 a.m. is not like a prime time to do a date, but still have girls want to meet me at that time. So like that's just how crazy my leads are, right? I have to like turn down girls so I can work and do other stuff constantly.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, when I do live streams, I gotta like cancel girls, and it's annoying.
Yeah, like I'm just coaching my students, and I have to like say to the girl, "No, I can't take you home." Like sometimes when I do boot camps, I tell the girl to wait until like 4 a.m. after I debrief. And sometimes I have like a girl waiting. Like I've just like done a cold approach or a few cold approaches, and the girl's been so hooked that she's just like followed me around on the whole boot camp. And my students are like, "What the hell? This girl's just following you around." I'm like, "Yeah, she's waiting for me," and I don't even know the girl. Just approached her. So that sometimes happens. It's pretty ridiculous. You probably have that happen as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't usually bring chicks on boot camps, but I have in the past. I mean,
I mean, a girl you cold approached in the club just like likes you so
oh
much,
yeah,
she'll
yeah.
like
Oh, because you can't
wait for
pull
you to be
yet.
finished with. Yeah, and you'll say, "Well, I can't pull you, I can't go over you until I'm done with my friends." And then you say, "If you want to wait, you can," and she will, and she'll just like follow you around, coaching the whole night. And she's probably watching you coaching, thinking, "What the hell is he doing?" And she'll probably get intrigued by it and be more interested because it's just like really out of the ordinary, you know. And sometimes
Yep.
girls see that and they get like obsessed. It's happened to me before. Yeah, we got much more questions. The questions are coming in now. Should I be out approaching girls? Absolutely. I mean, it depends on the time. If it's like 2 a.m. in the morning, you have to go to a club or something. If it's 5 a.m., there's no point, right? I think the time to, I think 4 a.m. to like 10 a.m. is not really a good time for approaching in general, because like girls that are getting up in the morning are like the worst ones to approach, and girls are, yeah. I mean, sometimes the RSD guys would say the early bird gets the worm. You have to go out at 6 a.m. to start approaching. I always disagreed with that because I found that approaching girls at 6 a.m. was just a complete waste of time compared to like approaching girls like after 1 p.m. or like 7 p.m. It just way less like. I mean, you can pull girls at that time. It's possible, but it's just like the ROI is very low.
Yep.
You would have like, you would have like guys go. You would have guys finishing up at the nightclub and then going straight to Daygame right after. I used to do that back in the day, but it's pretty inefficient. You should just go to sleep or pull a girl, and if you didn't pull a girl, then wake up and then go out in the more ideal time. I always say the best time to Daygame is like between 5 p.m. and 9 p.m. So definitely not in the morning.
When I lived in Vegas, it was like that. Like if you didn't pull for whatever reason at the club, there was after hours, and then there was shit after that. Then there's still people walking on the strip. There's still people at the casinos. So you could like
Vegas is a different world, though.
You can go 24/7.
But if you go down Avenue Paulista at like 5 a.m., it's not going to be anyone. I'm moving to Poznan, Poland. Any recommendations? Have you been there, brother? Because I haven't. I can't give you recommendations for that.
When I was living in Warsaw, I went to Poznan for a wedding. I was a chicks plus one at a wedding, and the Polish people are fucking crazy because they put a bottle of vodka like every 2 people, and everyone has a shot glass, and they're singing this song called Stola, which means like 100 years, like we wish you to live 100 years. And every time they sing that song, everybody does a shot, and the wedding goes for like 12 hours. Like the reception goes for like 12 hours. Starts like 3 or 4 p.m. and goes till like 3 or 4 in the morning. And so, yeah, I was with this super hot chick at the wedding, and some dude slapped her ass and almost got in a fight at like 2 a.m. and then we got kicked out of the wedding. I got like stranded in the middle of farm.
Don't slap girls' asses, guys. Don't do it. And unless you're like, if you're in set with them and they're attracted to, yes, but don't do it to a random girl. That is retardedness. I've hung out with guys that do that, and it's just stupid.
That was my only experience with Poznan. What's the population there? Let's see, population.
It's got to be small.
530K.
Yeah, it's doable. Here's a comment. Once you get a feel for game, the sky is the limit. Yeah, bro. You can keep going up. There is a ceiling, but I feel like it's way higher than most people ever get to.
Yeah, my best year, I slept with 246 new. That was mid 2017 to mid 2018.
I feel like
it was like 700 something lay count, and
I feel like, yeah,
I feel like
that
the
was ceiling per game. It's just time. How much time do you have?
Yeah,
like you don't have infinite time. We die. So that, and your dick can't be hard 24/7. It needs to take a rest. You need to sleep. So that's the limits. Any situation where you come to know that this is something which works? I don't really understand the context. You understand what he means by that?
Not really. I don't know what he means by
I can kind of guess, but I feel like I'm just guessing, so I don't want to really answer a question I don't understand.
Maybe like, how do we know game works?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, maybe he means like we do something and we don't believe in it, but we reach a point where like, okay, now we know this is for real. Like you might be
When I
skeptical
first heard
about
about
something. Maybe that's what he means.
when I first heard about formal game, like I thought it was like a scam. Like
Hmm.
I had a couple friends and they were like, "Oh, you got to read the book, The Game. There's like a whole method to actually getting girls." And I was like, "Oh, that sounds like bullshit," because you're kind of like brought up to think that like some guys got it and some guys don't, right? And I was one of those guys that was shy and nerdy and anxious and reserved and all this stuff. I thought it just wasn't in the cards for me. So when I first heard about game, I thought it was bullshit. And they kept telling me like, no, you got to go read this. And I finally did, and it like opened up a whole new world where I became super intrigued and started to realize, okay, there's like a system behind this stuff that's repeatable, and there's like a method to the madness. And I went and tried to implement some of the things, and it worked. And then I read the mystery method, which was more of like a tactical manual, and I went and tried that, and I started getting makeouts and lots of dates, and it was like working straight out of the gate. And that was like a huge epiphany to realize that you can make high probability moves to stack the odds in your favor, and it leads to success right away if you do it right. So that was like a huge game changer for me once I realized
Yeah.
that there's a system behind all
There's
this.
a few things I got really that I got from the mystery method that are really good. So the first thing is false time constraints. I feel like that's very good. I feel like false takeaways is also very good. I feel like qualifying is good. Disqualifying is good as well. I didn't really do negs. I didn't. That's not something I really did. But I feel like maybe I do it
I
without
did, but
realizing it.
they would backfire sometimes. Like they would come
Yeah.
across like too annoying.
Yeah.
Like
Sometimes I did negs. I didn't like that.
I was bringing like dryer lint out in my pocket. Like this was one of the techniques the old school game people would say to do. And I would pull the dryer lint out and like pull it off the girl's shirt and be like, "Oh, look at this," and she's supposed to like feel stupid about it. But like it starts to become, they're like, "Oh, okay, well, what?" And then they're like laughing, and then I'm like, "Oh, you look like a bunny when you laugh," or But like you keep stacking these like backhanded compliments, and it starts to look too contrived, right? And they start to look at you as like an asshole as well.
Yeah, I agree. Most of it's pretty good, but I feel some of it feels a little bit cringe when you do it. I guess it just depends. But I've seen like guys that only do mystery method and they're like completely robotic, and they think, well, I can't get, I haven't been able to get to A3, so now the set's over because I can't get to A3, and the girl's like they're smiling at him and interested. And he's like, I can't get to A3, this is over, and I'm like, bro, the girl is like interested.
That's a mistake, I think, to follow the exact sub stages that he lays out. I think everybody should just look at this as compliance and non-compliance, right? You move things forward, you assume compliance. If and when you run into non-compliance or objections, you deal with those in turn accordingly. But like he got that from operant conditioning, right? Like classical reward and punishment with behavioral psychology, and then he brought that into his pickup system, and I built off that as well. Everything at the core is either compliance or non-compliance at every step of the way from open to close.
Cheers.
Brad is king.
Yeah, cheers, brother. Cheers. Can you make an ugly ethnic guy into a pickup machine? Yeah, sure.
I've done that countless times.
I've seen Indian guys kill it in pickups. So I mean, yeah, Muslim guys,
I've had a whole bunch of
Asian guys.
I've had a whole bunch of short ethnic Asian and Indian that have ended up in the multi-hundred lay count or ended up with a stunner girlfriend. But when they come to me, their height and their ethnicity is like a huge problem for them. And that's usually the issue, is it's a problem for you if you're in that category. It's not that no girl likes you. It's most guys are just focused on that and they let that consume them, and they assume most girls aren't going to like them.
I'm going to Tokyo next week. Any tips for Japanese girls? I don't have any tips necessarily for Japanese girls. They are very shy. So, being too sexual and physical may backfire. Typically, when you talk to Japanese girls, they give you funny reactions like, oh, like that. They do shit like this, like wave their hands, or they're really smiley but awkward. I feel like with Japanese girls, it's like, you just have to understand that they're awkward and weird. And at the end of the day, you just need to make them feel like they're not being judged. because that's probably, you know, ultimately why they feel like that. They feel like they're going to be judged by society, or they feel weird about that. So you just need to overcome that conditioning. And ultimately, the steps are the same. You just got to get the girl on an instant date and pull her, but you just need to be very mindful about like her situation. You know, like that she's shy, you know, and timid. So you don't want to be like acting as if she was a Brazilian girl, like trying to like go in for a tongue makeout immediately, because girls in Japan don't really do that kind of thing, especially in public. So maybe you'd leave a lot of the escalation for when she gets home in that particular situation. And I'm actually going to Tokyo, so if you're going to be in Tokyo in June, in the middle of June, you could hit me up, and you know, maybe we can organize something. I'll be going there. Have you been? You haven't been to Tokyo. Have you met any Japanese girls? I know you've closed some Korean girls, but they're not Japanese. They're not really.
I've banged like most races, so I've banged a bunch of Japanese girls, but I've never been to Japan.
What do you think about Japanese girls? Are they like all giggly and shy, or they've been like westernized? The ones you've met.
I mean, I prefer Korean. I think, like in terms of general attractiveness, but like Asians in general tend to be more reserved, more passive, culturally.
With the exception of like, I would say like Thai women aren't quite as reserved. Filipino women sometimes aren't very reserved, depends on their family. Indonesian girls sometimes don't be reserved. But yeah, if you're looking at Koreans, Japanese, and Chinese, they're pretty reserved for the most part. What's the easiest way to stay cool around and create tension with girls while approaching? So strong eye contacts, assuming attraction, assuming that she's going to be interested in you, not talking too fast, talking slower, having the right distance. Try to have like a smirk on your face, that confident look on your face. It's going to help. And I wouldn't really focus on it too much. Don't be like, I need to make the approach sexual right from the beginning, because then you're going to be like that other company that like tries to sexualize every approach of the approach, and it just ends up being weird. And it's not, you don't need an approach to be sexual right off the bat to pull the girl. Like, it's not that necessary. Really the important thing is if the girl is comfortable being sexual and you can tell that she might want that, or things are alluding that way, you allow it to happen and you kind of like go for it, right? But you don't want to be making things sexual in an uncalibrated way. So if you're always trying to create sexual tension immediately, you're going to be blowing out. You're going to be like coming from the wrong place. You want to be doing that when you get on the date. But sometimes things get sexual immediately, especially in the nightclub.
Yeah. Yeah, another important principle is to treat her as if you've already fucked the chick, as if it's a girl you're already sleeping with, and almost as if you already known her for a while, like a pre-existing long-term fuck buddy is kind of the best frame. Because when you act super comfortable and you act like, you know, like nothing's a big deal, and you just assume this familiarity, and it imports a whole bunch of comfort and makes them feel much more comfortable. If you come in like walking on eggshells, like timid, like, hey, sorry to bother you, is it okay if I talk to you, like
That's
blah blah
not
blah,
great.
and they're gonna feel weirded out and awkward as well. Like usually when I was doing a lot of night game, when I would come in on an interaction, a lot of chicks would think that they like knew me already, or the people in the group would think that the girl knew me already, just because I come in like, yo, what's up, like blah blah blah.
Wait, do you know me? Did we meet from somewhere? We've met, right? It's because you're meeting new girls and you're working with their minds. I think that's why you never get used to it. The skill gets better through on your side. I think he's just commenting on something we said. He's not asking a question. Anything you want to say about that? It's not really a question.
He's basically making the point that women are like a constant, and then you're improving your skills on your side.
There's another comment here. That's another question. Should we get back to it?
Game is like stack the probabilities in your favor. So there's always like a better way of doing every step of the way. And when you're making all the best moves, you stack all the success in your favor.
This one here, confidence, man, confidence keeps moving. What? Okay, he always gets strange comments. How many times in the game have you met a girl's parents? How's that typically go? So if the girl, wants me to meet her parents, I don't really usually go with it unless, I'm specifically in a relationship with it. I do not want to meet a rotation girl's parents. There's absolutely no reason for that. Sometimes you approach a girl and she's with her parents when you approach her, and there's different ways that can go. Sometimes you just approach her and the parents just immediately just back off and give her space, and that's usually parents that come from the frame of, oh well, it's our daughter, we want her to meet a cool guy, and if this guy has the balls to approach her, we're going to let them do their thing. And if the parents come from that frame of mind, that's very good. But sometimes the parents are very defensive, and they'll like they'll stand real close and listen, or they might even say something like, that's my daughter, why are you talking to her, or whatever. So on the cold approach, I don't like typically like target girls with their parents, but I also don't let it stop me if I feel like it's going to be a good approach. I remember there's a girl I pulled from the opera house, and I approached her and she was with her parents, and their parents immediately said, well, it looks like you guys are going to have fun. We'll text us when you're text us later. And they immediately just walked off, and I was thinking, bro, it's like, could the parents be any more cool?
Yeah. I mean, I've met chicks' parents when they're like my girlfriend, and then it's always like a little bit weird because like you're like trying to be cool with the dad, but he knows that his daughter's like fucking riding your dick and blowing you and shit. Like this one chick, I think she was like 21. She started like stripping because she was living with me and I was paying the rent because she was like in college, and she's like, I feel bad that you're paying the bills. I want to try to earn some money. I don't know what I could do. And then she had like a really good body. And then she's like, I'll try stripping. And then she started making like a shitload of money. And then like
more
the
than
parents
you
stripping and like blame me.
Oh shit. Yeah.
And then like I had a different chick that became a webcam girl while she was my girlfriend. And the parents blame me for that as well. But like, it's usually fine. It can be a little awkward, a little weird.
Yeah, I've talked to girls' mums, not usually the dads as much, but the mums usually like, they'll follow you on Instagram and just ask you questions randomly. Oh, have you seen my daughter? Or is she okay? How's it going with her? They'll just ask stuff like that. So it's never like anything too much. But if the parents, I haven't really dealt with parents that are like trying to cop block me just because, I've never allowed myself to meet a girl's parents if that's going to be the frame, right? But yeah, typically I don't really want to meet the girl's parents unless we're in a long-term relationship, and then I guess it's somewhat necessary. But if you're just seeing the girl or whatever, there's no real need for that.
Yep.
Brad, I'm listening very carefully. Everything great. Keep listening. You're gonna learn a lot.
And again, like those of you guys that want to coach with us, we have a link in the description for a free 30-minute strategy call that will diagnose whatever problems you're running into and come up with a roadmap for solutions. You can book that with the link in the description of the pinned comment.
This comment is kind of, I don't know what to say about that comment. Girls with parents is super interesting. Everyone has parents. So I don't know. That doesn't really. That's redundant. Everyone has parents. Just saying every girl's interesting. What are some tricks to make a girl give up her number easier? I don't feel like when a girl gives you her number, she's giving up. It's kind of like you're framing it as if like it's a battle and she's like giving in. You have to come from the frame where she wants to give you the number. That's just part of the process, and she wants to give it to you because you're already having a good time with her. You're enjoying the company, so it only makes sense that you would go on a date and see her again. So the number is almost like obvious. So I feel like that's the wrong frame of mind immediately with your questioning. Some interactions go really well, but then they go into retract mode when you're asking for a number. So that's the thing. I feel like you're probably thinking of the number as like a goal or like a accomplishment or something that you have to win. It's not like that. It's more like you connect with the other person. You're attracted to each other. You're curious. She agrees to meet up with you. She's like, yeah, cool, we can meet up sometime. The number is just obvious. It's just like, that's just the next step. I feel like you're thinking about it the wrong way.
Yeah. Well, one thing that I help or that helps me like grease the. I mean, it's easy to get numbers, but to kind of make it even more easy, I'll weave into the conversation whatever it is I want to do on the date, right? So, oh, by the way, do you like coffee? Oh yeah, I love coffee. Cool, we should grab coffee in the next couple of days. Here, put your number in my phone, and then I hand them the dial pad. They enter their number, and then I go into scheduling. So, okay, are you free later today? Are you free tomorrow? I think tomorrow works, and you set the time, and it's done. So it's, do you like such and such? Do you like wine? Do you like coffee? Do you like craft beer? Yes. Cool. Let's do that in the next couple of days. Let's get a wine in the next couple of days. Put your number in my phone. So there's a book called Persuasion by Robert Cialdini, who wrote the book Influence. And he says that if you tee up a yes, the odds of them complying with the next thing go way up. You know, it's like way easier for them to comply. So you should never say, you know, can I have your number? Or do you want to hang out sometime? Because then that leaves like a negative option for them to be like, no, I'm good. Instead, do you like such and such? Yeah, I love such and such. Cool, let's do such and such in the next couple of days. Here, put your number in my phone. So that's how I've always done it for like the past 15, 20 years.
Or you just say, okay, let me get your number. Like, you don't say, can I get your number? You can say, it's almost as if the thing you say before you get the number is like preempting to get the number. Like you said, yeah, that's very important. If you just approach a girl and say, hey, I thought you were really cute, what's your number? She's going to say, why do you want my number? And then you're going to have to, then you literally have to go, you have to backtrack and explain to her why you're getting her number. Wrong frame. It's better to have it obvious why you're getting her number and then get it, not the other way around. Explain after the fact. You want it to be obvious before, not her having to figure out, why does he want my number? Why is this random guy asking my numbers?
It's fairly easy to get a phone number, and you should aim to get a phone number from any girl you cold approach unless she's taken or not interested. So unless they tell you to go away or fuck off, or that they have a boyfriend or husband, you should always be getting the number, even if they're very busy. Like, you stop a girl in Daygame, hey, what are you up to right now? Oh, I'm late for somewhere. Oh, let me grab your info real quick. Oh, I don't know you, but we're not able to contact each other. Let me just grab your info, or default to Instagram as a last resort. But you know, I did an infield experiment with my old business partner Josh, and we got 75 numbers in 2 hours. Just to kind of mock, we were kind of mocking simple pickup because they were glorifying like it was like a huge deal to get a phone number from a girl in public. And so we went and got 75 quickly in 2 hours. Only I had like 50 something of that total, and like 5 of them converted, which is like close to the 10% metric.
Speaking about glorifying getting girls' numbers, I feel like the fact that there's all the infield and all the POV infield out there is basically only an approach, and then sometimes the guy gets the girl's number, and rarely do you see any follow-up date or even a pull. That would be very rare this day and age. So now like the expectation is just some cringy approach and a smile, and that's seen as a good infield. And then if like you're lucky, you might see them get a girl's number, and that's where it ends. And it's kind of like, what happened? Why is our expectation?
They're treating the interaction like a performance too. Like, oh, look, I'm going to go and say these clever things or these witty things, and you know, try to get the girl to laugh, and they look at that as the measure of success. In reality, the only measure of success is like, does it lead to fucking the girl, right? Like, you're approaching the girl,
at least something sexual, or you know, yeah. And you know, is it leading? Is she coming to your house? Is you know, is it getting sexual? Are you having sex? You know. I feel like though, if you do pull a girl and you get a blowjob or whatever, it's still pretty similar. You know, it's not. It doesn't always have to be only sex. Sometimes it can be, you know, if the clothes are coming off and you're having a strong connection. Sometimes girls have like a rule that they can't have sex on the first day. Maybe that's because of like pregnancy and stuff. You can get a blowjob or whatever, or maybe it's like an STD concern and you need to get an STD check, or you know. Sometimes you don't have condoms or whatever. It doesn't happen, but yeah. I don't really care. Like if I pull a hot girl and I don't fuck her, I don't care, because I'm cool with like getting a blowjob or doing other stuff. But yeah, most of the time when the girl does oral or something, she'll just want it. Even if she says she doesn't have sex on the first day, after she's like sucking you off or you're licking her, she'll completely 180 on her rule, just because she's extremely turned on, you know.
Yep.
So yeah. That's why I don't really care, because I know what happened anyway. How can I approach my, what the fuck? Okay, it's like a troll question. I don't know. How about how talk about how to run perfect date from online Facebook dating, how to have good vibe, pull from drinks. I feel like you're just asking a general question of how to pull a girl in general. But if you want to know specifically about Facebook dating, I think John might know about it because I don't know anything about Facebook dating.
Yeah, I mean, it's separate from the Facebook
Just gonna
profile.
get a drink.
It's like an independent thing, separate from the Facebook profile. But the major difference between Facebook dating and Tinder and Bumble is you can message on the opener. So I instruct my clients to like send the opener to every single girl until you hit the limit for the day. But yeah,
I've never used
it's
Facebook
the same
dating.
as it's just the lead, right? So it doesn't matter if it came from Facebook dating or Tinder or Bumble. To have a good
Zero
vibe,
sugar, by the way, guys. Zero sugar. I'm not drinking any sugar. Just making it clear because people might think I'm drinking sugar.
but yeah, I mean, to have a good vibe on a date, you should be keeping things lighthearted and fun, cracking jokes, flirting, sexualizing, stacking conversational topics so that you don't run out of things to say or the conversation doesn't fall flat. And you eventually need to weave into the conversation the idea that you guys are going to hang out afterwards, and then you bring that up, and then that prompts her objections. She's going to typically say she doesn't feel safe, or she's not that kind of girl, or she doesn't go home with guys she just met, or she's got to be up early. There's a whole host of objections, and there's ideal responses for each one. And so it's simply a matter of lighthearted fun, vibing with flirtation and jokes, and then inviting her home and answering objections to come home.
Yeah. Do you think I could run Facebook dating from my pickup Facebook, or that would be impossible?
You can, because it's not linked to your actual profile. It's separate.
Cool. I might do that. I might do that then. I didn't know that. I thought I was just the girl would go check my profile and see that I'm a dating coach. Immediately, I'm out.
No.
Someone's mentioning your Paul Janker bootcamp. You can talk about that. Maybe people can click the link, make it book a call, whatever if they're interested.
Yeah, so Paul Janka, for those of you who don't know, he was like a legend back in the 2000s. I think he retired from Cold Approach in 2009. He ended up getting married. He was doing lots of Daygame in New York City and got multi-hundred lay count, largely from Daygame. He was a Harvard physics major, so very intelligent guy. And now he's kind of coming out of retirement to run boot camps under my brand. And so we have one scheduled June 5th, 6th, and 7th in Amsterdam. And then we have one in London, July 3rd, 4th, and 5th. So you can book one of those free strategy calls with the link in the description if you have interest in either one of those. But he's a master at mass number collecting and doing everything from A to Z in the game.
Yeah, that guy's insane. He was on Dr. Phil, and it was very impressive watching him on a mainstream TV show like that. And he held his composure very well. He was very smart, intelligent about the way he explained everything. And you see most pickup guys on TV, they fumble, they look like idiots. Yeah. You've got like Julian, you've got like that Justin Wayne guy who like completely fumbled it and got exposed. Right. And then you got Paul Janker, who looks like a legend. So it's a complete difference, right? That you can see it. Some of it's obviously framing from the TV show. They can edit stuff, but yeah, I feel like Dr. Phil was really anti-pickup artists, and the fact that he was able to look so good on Dr. Phil kind of shows a lot. Because I feel like most guys would get destroyed on there.
But there's a lot of overlap between what he found that works and what we found that works as well.
There's this guy asking about their professor not letting them pull or something. I don't think we should. It's a weird question. Doesn't make any sense. I understand that you guys have mastered cold approach by doing tons of approaches and analyzing what worked versus what didn't. But what was the process for figuring out how to kill it at online games? Well, online games are different beasts, man. So first of all, you got the photos, right? You need to have good photos. You need to make sure that photos you're using, girls are interested in them. You got to make sure that your profiles aren't shadow banned, because all the guys are getting wrecked because they're shadow banned. And usually the reason why it's shadow banned is because you've tried to make too many Tinder accounts on the same phone, or you deleted one, remade one, deleted, made one with the same emails and phone numbers. Tinder thinks you're just spamming profiles that will like limit your reach. If you've like liked every single girl without sorting through the fatties, if you liked all the fat ones, it's going to think you have zero standards. It's going to completely wreck your ego.
Actually, it was our so Brad and I run mentorship calls together, and we have a joint client, Neil, and he asked me yesterday, or my call on Wednesday. He said, I'm considering right swiping every single girl on the apps because it seems to be getting me better results. And I said, no, that it shows the algorithm you have zero standards. You don't want to do that. You only want to swipe on girls you would actually sleep with. I know that for a fact. Like, I had a client that was a programmer for Tinder, and he said that if you're right swiping on the low quality girls that people usually swipe left on, it shows that you don't have any standards, and it lowers your own value score, your own ELO score.
Yeah.
Accordingly.
You get put into bronze tier in League of Legends terms, which is like, you know, bottom 50% percentile, if not worse. And that is, you know,
Yeah.
they wouldn't even show you hot girls anymore. They will just say, well, he likes fatties. We'll just show him fatties because that's what he's into.
No, but to answer the question, like, it's what Brad said, right? Optimize your online profile. That involves getting a professional photos, like a pro photo shoot, and or AI photos. We have a proprietary service that we offer clients for the AI photos to nail the backgrounds and outfits and posing and all that. But then the next big piece is your messaging, your sequences. What is your sequence like to go from opener to phone number? What do you do when various scenarios happen, or if she ignores you? So mastering online game is just mastering the photo selection and the messaging sequences. That's it. And the texting sequences.
Yeah, I know you have. I know in your leads machine product you have like a texting course, and in my Daygame seduction program I have a dedicated module for texting as well, which is like maybe 3 or 4 hours long. So we both have like text game stuff based on this, and I also have one. Yeah,
like lead management and lead follow up and texting, managing the leads, I think is arguably one of the most important, if not the most important parts of the system. Because I can teach mostly anybody to
with
get
online game, absolutely.
Yeah, I can teach like almost anybody to get a whole bunch of phone numbers from cold approach and online, and also I can teach them how to close their dates. So it's that middle piece of regularly following up and converting their matches to phone numbers and their phone numbers to dates that I think really determines a lot of the results.
Talk about the game. Chill, timid, FOB, Latinas from Latin America, not American Islanders ones. I find the difference is huge in culture vibe. What does FOB mean? I've never.
Fresh off the boat.
I don't know these weird analogies or abbreviations. Okay, so that's like a girl that's just gotten to America, Australia, or England straight from South America. They're probably going to be. Yeah, they might not speak English, but they're probably going to be like, they're not going to be bombarded with attention like the other girls, because, you know, when they come to America, they have a lot of guys hitting on them or whatever. It's obviously very uncalibrated. So there might be like a small window of opportunity where there would be a like more open-minded, and that would come back to the baseline normalized level that other girls get based on their attractiveness. You might find that for how hot they are, they might be more receptive when they arrive, and that would slowly normalize. But I mean, other than that, I mean, it just depends where they come from, because if a girl's coming from China, she'll probably be awkward and weird, and then she'll normalize to American society and become less awkward and actually probably easier to talk to. So it'd actually be better if she becomes westernized. But vice versa with the Latina women, it'll probably be better when they first arrive because they're more sexual liberated, and then when they come to America, they kind of normalize with the values, and that they become maybe not as good. So it just depends where they're coming from. But yeah, Latinas, I think, yeah, I guess if they're FOB straight off the boat, probably going to be a good opportunity in some regards. Maybe obviously some circumstances not, but it just depends. You know, what was the reason?
If they're depends on which country. There's a bunch of factors, right? Like it's not.
If they're Brazilian recently in America, I would feel like that's a good one. because Brazilians
Yeah.
are pretty sexual and awesome, right? But as they like spend more time in America, their perceived value of themselves might increase.
Yeah.
But if you have good game anyway, it doesn't matter that much. What is the reason that? Okay.
I don't know what that's referring to.
Yeah, I don't know either. I just click on it and not read it. Maybe I shouldn't have clicked on it. I'm just clicking on these comments without reading them first. Maybe I should screen them first. Modern girls have their heads in their phones oftentimes. What kind of tricks do you use to deal with these Gen Z types? Some modern girls don't expect to be approached. Yeah.
I just tell them like, hey, I just want to talk to you for a second. Can you just pay attention for a second? So if the chick is like aloof or like otherwise disengaged, you know, on her phone or social media or whatever, or busy with doing something on her phone, I just say like, hey, I just want to talk to you for a second. I just want to meet you for a second. Can you like not pay attention to that just for a minute? Right? Because you can't run the interaction while they're, you know, buried in their phone and distracted.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if
you just ask them to not pay attention to that.
I think for a lot of guys, they just need to talk louder and more confidently, and that would draw the girl's attention. If they have a deeper voice, if they're coming in like, "Oh, hey, you're on your phone. Can you talk to me?" The girl's just like going to ignore them because it's like not important. But if you sound like what you're saying is important, the girl's probably going to be like, "Oh, I have to pay attention." But yeah, like you can say, you can just tell the girl, "Oh, you can check that in a second, but I want to ask you something," or whatever, you know. Sometimes I'm even on dates with the girl and she's like constantly checking her phone, or she's like addicted to her phone, and it's kind of annoying. I don't like to like tell a girl, say, "Hey, look, stop looking at your phone," or, you know, look, concentrate on me. I don't like to have to bring that up, but sometimes you have to call it out if it's getting ridiculous. Some girls are like literally TikTok brain. They're addicted to their phones, you know.
Yep.
That's why I call it TikTok brain. I don't know what you call it.
It's just yeah. I refer to it as like ADD. Like, you know, like the younger generation, they'll even do that shit on the dates sometimes, right? You'll be sitting there for drinks or coffee, and the chick is just like scrolling Instagram or like taking pictures of herself constantly. And so if it becomes like disruptive or too distracting, then I just tell them like, can you just like turn your phone upside down or like just leave it to the side for a little bit? You know, because it's going to really interfere. Like you can't like game the chick properly if she's not even listening.
Yeah, say to me, "Can you put your phone down, because, you know, we're here to get to know each other. It's pretty hard to get to know you when you're just staring at your phone." I won't say it like trying to like put them down will be really negative. I'm just trying to like I'm trying to make something happen, right? I'm trying to like connect with the girl, so I'm coming from that frame, not like calling her a bitch or whatever. But yeah, sometimes girls do that, and when you do call it out, sometimes they just stop doing it and they don't even realize they're doing it. It's like so second nature. They have so much dopamine hit from looking at their phone, and it's just like an addiction, and then they don't even realize they're doing it until someone says, "Hey, look, this is ridiculous. Just put your phone down." And they're like, "Oh shit," snap them out of it, right? But it also can be an indicator that the girl's not interested as well. So if she keeps doing it and you call her out on it multiple times, you could just like, you could at that stage be like, "Okay, this girl is addicted to a phone. I'm calling her out. She's not doing it." What I would do in that situation, I would be like, "Well, I'm going to just try to pull her, and if it doesn't work, I'm going to just ditch the date." So what I usually do with a girl that just is being weird or whatever, I would just use that as like a motivation to like speed run the pull and blow it out, because I'm like, this girl's annoying me already, and I don't really want to put the time in, so I'm just going to prematurely try to pull her. And if it doesn't work, then that's fine. I was going to leave anyway. So as soon as I've decided that I'm going to leave a set, I'm like, well, I shouldn't really leave until I've tried to pull. So I try to pull her, doesn't work, that's fine. I was going to leave anyway. That's what I usually do, just to make, because sometimes there's like a girl's giving you like indicators of disinterest, or it feels like she's not interested, but then she would pull anyway and then hook up. And it's just because she's like retarded or something that she has those bad behaviors, you know? Because sometimes you can be unexpected. Sometimes you touch the girl to kiss the girl and she's like negative about it, and then when you go to pull her, she fucks, and her rationalization is, "Oh, I don't like touching, I don't like kissing, but I like sex." It's weird. Some girls are weird like that. Usually those kind of girls, I feel like they're devoid of like human connection. They still like sex, but they don't want a connection with someone. Weird, but yeah, it does happen every now and then. So that's why I just go for the pool anyway, regardless, even if it's weird like that. If the girl's hot, that is, I wouldn't be talking to otherwise. There's another question, but how big of a negative is being older than the girl, like 30 years older? I feel like, it is a factor. There's a lot of girls that will kind of like see you as, being way older and kind of like see society's views on that, or maybe, she's been told she's not meant to be into older guys or whatever. But if you can get a girl to laugh and be attracted to your energy, a lot of those preconceived ideas about how you look, how old you are, they'll be lowered, so it won't be as a big a deal, and should be more focused on your energy, your character, your charisma, and then you might get away with it a lot more, right? So that's where game comes into play, obviously. And some girls have daddy issues and like older guys, so it actually, for some guys, in some circumstances, it's not that bad either. I've seen older guys like 60 years old, like pilot guys are very confident, charismatic, 60 years old, and then they're like talking to 18-year-olds, and everything's fine, just because they're doing it well. But then there are still girls that will have a hard rule about it, and they're not willing to, go with a guy that's double their age, because they're just so strict about it.
Yeah. Some chicks will have an issue with it, but a lot of chicks won't care, and a lot of chicks prefer older dudes. Like, we've got guys in the program right now, they're in their 50s. We got a 70-year-old right now that's divorced. And we had one, I think the record is, like, with the age spread, is we had a 72-year-old sleep with an 18-year-old, which I guess some people might think is gross, but
it's legal.
And the other students were like, what do you tell girls when they ask how old you are? And he says, oh, I just tell them I'm old as fuck, which I think is a good answer.
Yeah.
So like the lesson, like I had a client in Poland, this Italian dude from California, and he was like 46, and some girl told him at the club that he was old enough to be your dad before our training. And so that like shut him down, and he stopped talking to younger girls because he thought they would all think that. I'm like, no, a lot of younger chicks prefer older dudes. And then he pulled an 18 and a 19-year-old in the weekend boot camp in Poland.
Did I even get girls saying that?
He was like, these girls are half my age. Like, it was all in my head, blah, blah, blah. So it's not that it's not a factor, but tons of girls won't care. So,
I ask lots of girls, what's your ideal age? And they always say the most common age is older. I'm like, how much older? They're like, a bunch older. Not like grandpa, but like they want an older guy.
Yeah, because it's more,
they know that
more experienced, more worldly.
There's more character. The girls have found that the guys are, they know what they're doing. They lead more. They're more confident in themselves. They bring value to the girl. They know they can read the girl better. They make the girl happier. They pay attention to the girl. Better in bed. If it's a guy her age, he's usually clueless of what to do. He doesn't understand the girl. The girl has a problem, and the guy can't help her with it, like emotionally or anything. So the girls are just sick of guys like that, even if they might be attractive or society says that's who they should be with. The girl quickly realizes it's not good for her. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yep. I've talked to a lot of hot girls in their 20s that say they'll only date guys above 30 or only date guys above 40. So there's tons of hot girls that prefer older guys. So
sometimes if you're a younger guy, you should tell some girls specifically that you're older. A lot of the objections my younger students get is you're too young. The girl will be like 18 and he's 24, and the girl's like, sorry, I don't like guys under 30, and he's 24. I'm like, bro, just tell the girl you're 30.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Some girls are like that. Usually the issue is the other way around, but it can actually happen that way as well. I've had students have girls be like, oh, you're too young, you're too young. But they can obviously overcome that by just having good game and showing confidence and just moving it forward. And, it's the experience. Like if they show the girl they have the experience to talk to her, it's not, If he's too young or whatever, it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean anything.
You can normalize it as well. Like if you're younger and the girl's much older, you say, "Oh, I normally date girls your age. My last girlfriend was your age." And then if you're older, you can say, "I normally date girls that are younger," right? To normalize it the other way.
Yeah, or you could say, yeah, I understand why you're saying that, because most guys my age are completely clueless and don't have any experience. So I understand why you're saying that. But and then you could like use that as use that to separate yourself and show the girl that you're actually cool. But don't do it in a way that's where you're trying to qualify yourself to the girl. How to run dates from online that leads to close the same night. I feel like we just talked about that at some point.
Yep.
Did we?
Yeah, we just talked about
that. How's Russia and Belarus? You recently just uploaded a video on Ukraine and Belarus. But Russia and Belarus, they're very similar because they're both natively Russian speaking.
Coffee while you talk here.
Okay, no problem. So Russia and Belarus are very good. They call Minsk, the capital of Belarus, like the mini Moscow. Moscow, I don't know how many people live there, maybe like 8, 9, 10 million. Minsk has maybe 2 or 3 million. They call Minsk the mini Moscow. And I really love Russia and Belarus because there's, first of all, not many people go there. And with this whole war thing happening and the restrictions for like Americans and Europeans to go there, it just like eliminates a lot of the competition. So going there kind of sets you apart. Now, a lot of the girls do not speak English. So when you go there, you're going to realize that you might have to say some basic stuff in Russian, or you have to focus on the sub communications a lot more. But in Russia and Belarus, being dominant and assertive goes a long way. The girls do not like pushovers. You have to always be leading. The girl does never lead. In these countries, the girl never leads. So you have to always be leading. But don't misconstrue that with like Brazil, because in Brazil, you also need to be leading, but it's in a different way. In Brazil, you want to be leading, but you can be very sexual. You can be making out all the time using tongue. In Brazil, it's leading, but you don't want to be overly sexual necessarily. You can be sexual, but not to the extent of Brazil. So Brazil, you would be leading all the time and being dominant, but also being very sexual. In Russia, you'd be leading and dominant, but without being overly sexual. You could have like a mild level of sexuality, but you wouldn't be trying to like tongue kiss like real quick or anything. So it'd be like one of the bigger differences. But I really like Moscow. I really like Minsk and Belarus, and I've been to St. Petersburg as well. I didn't like St. Petersburg quite as much as Moscow, mainly because St. Petersburg has a more of a hipster, feminist vibe. And that being said, Russia is really not feminist or hipster whatsoever. But just when you compare St. Petersburg to Moscow, St. Petersburg is slightly more like that, but still no way near the level that most Western cities or countries are. But yeah, Moscow, I feel like it's better because it's bigger, there's more people, sexually liberated. St. Petersburg is still very good. And one good thing about St. Petersburg, though, to its credit, it feels like a museum. When you're walking around the streets of St. Petersburg, formerly known as Leningrad, the whole city is like the architecture, the streets, all the streets are really wide. Every building looks pretty. There's no graffiti. The buildings are all great architecturally. It's like beautiful. It's like every street you're walking down in St. Petersburg feels like you're literally walking through a museum or like a historical land site. It's crazy. It's really amazing, and yeah, it's good. And I feel like when you're in Belarus specifically, Belarus is unique because I feel like there's absolutely like the risk of crime is very low because the police in Belarus are so strict that if there's like a fight, the police will go and hunt down everyone in the fight. Or if someone steals your phone, in most countries, they'll be like, oh, well, there's nothing we can do about it. In Belarus, they will literally go and hunt down the person that stole your phone. And since they tap everyone's phone, they would just like tap the phone, find the GPS locations without needing any details. And they can like find people really easy because they've got like the KGB and stuff. So they're secretly watching everyone already. So if someone breaks the law, they can immediately find them straight away because they have access to all the cameras. They can go and get the cameras from any of the bars or the nightclubs without any warrant. They can just do whatever they want. They can tap people's phones, so they can find criminals really easily. So it's like really unlikely that people are going to break the law there because they're going to get caught. So when you're in Belarus, there's rarely fights. People are not going to punch you. And yeah, I just feel like it's super safe in that regard. There's not much AMOGing happening, guys. And well, if they are AMOGing, they're not like aggressively. They're not aggressive about it. Yeah. I was just talking about like in Belarus, it's like the KGB and secret police, so no one's really like wanting to do anything wrong because I know that just a little petty crime could like destroy them because they're so strict. So no one wants to do anything. No one even wants to throw rubbish on the ground. No one wants to like you swear in public. No one wants to steal someone's phone. No one wants to like do anything like that because they know the KGB is like literally around the corner. All right. Next question. I have a girl I closed 2 times from online. She wants a long distance relationship, pushing it to her frame, but I just want to keep her on rotation. How do I set the frame goals for fuck buddy frame? I think friends and benefits.
Friends and benefits,
frame only. What do you think, John?
Just tell them you're too busy with work. Like, you can say that you're not over your last relationship, but then it might look like you have baggage. So it's usually better to just say you're busy with work. You don't want to rush into anything. You want to keep getting to know her, how things are, and you can address that later. But then that goes on forever, perpetually, right?
Yeah, that's a great way to do it. The girl can't disagree with you being busy at work. I mean, that's a frame she can't argue with, really. Here we go. Here's one. Do you agree the game is 93 to 7% nonverbal? So that would mean 93% verbal, 7% nonverbal, and it's something that you would think about. And how do you cultivate it? No, I don't think that's the ratio. I think I think there's more nonverbal game than that. I haven't really thought about it, like the percentages, but I feel like nonverbal game would be more than 7%.
Yeah, I mean that's the official stats. I mean the girls are very perceptive. They're basically like your mindset is dictating a lot of the nonverbal communication. So if you think you're the man, you're good enough for any girl, you feel confident, etc., that's going to come through in your words and body language just automatically. There's going to have insidious effects, and the reverse is also true. So, I try to explain to my audience, my clients, that if you were to go into a used car dealership and there was a car that had like parts all broken, windows broken, it's all rusting, falling apart, piece of shit, dilapidated car, that's essentially how you're presenting yourself when you don't think that you're good enough. It comes through in all your nonverbal communication. Whereas if you see yourself as like the shiny new sports car, then that's a much better frame to come from, and that'll come through in your nonverbal communication. So a lot of your mindset and your beliefs about yourself and what your own value will dictate how you come across to the girl. So guys are shooting themselves in the foot when they're embodying these victim mindsets or these negative mindsets, and they're presenting them. No one wants that piece of shit car, right? So it's almost like you're marketing yourself as a product, and if you don't believe in your own product, it's very difficult for her to believe in it as well. But the good news is you can basically like flip a switch and start looking at yourself as the man and start framing things in a positive way, and then that will lead to tangible successes like more positive reactions, more phone numbers, more dates, more hookups, right? More matches, and then that will feed back on itself to bolster your confidence and your beliefs about yourself further, which will cause more success. But a lot of guys are stuck in this kind of rut where they think they're not good enough, or they think they're a loser, they think that they suck or they're low value, and then they go in expecting a rejection if they even do the approach at all. A lot of them don't even bother doing the approach because they think they suck. And then if and when they get rejected, it's usually a self-fulfilling prophecy based on their negative beliefs about themselves. And then they use confirmation bias to say, oh, look, see, it's because I suck, or oh, look, it's because I'm short, or oh, look, it's because my hairline's receding, or whatever else. And they keep negative spiraling like that, and they never really pull themselves out of that hole. So it's important that, you know, I can't stress enough. It's important that you have a positive and confident belief about yourself so that it'll come through in all your nonverbal communication and signify that you're high value and that you're good enough instead of the opposite.
Okay. What do you think about this question?
What kind of dominance should be applied in the interaction phase? You should be leading strong. It's not that you need to be, you know, oh, I'm the dominant man, you have to submit, that kind of stupid shit. It's more, I think, just being comfortable in your own skin, being confident, moving things forward, and you know, making things happen. Asking for the phone number, trying to take her home, being physical, sexualizing your verbals. There's this whole notion of guys trying to like play it safe. So a lot of clients that we teach struggle with, well, this is a stranger. How can I say sexual remarks to her? How can I be physical with her? This, you know, I don't want her to be offended, or I don't want to blow it out. But then it has the opposite effect. You don't sexualize and you get friend zoned, right? So you have to kind of unapologetically be the man who leads and makes things happen. And you know, you have, they're not going to invite themselves back home. They're not going to offer out their phone number.
Absolutely.
Typically. They're not going to invite themselves out on a date. So you have to, the dominance portion would be, you know, taking charge and making things happen without being an asshole, I guess.
Yeah, being the man with the plan, just making shit happen. But yeah, don't be the guy that needs to like assert dominance over other people, trying to be above other people, trying to like make the girl like lower than you, or like trying to be like the, you know, trying to amog or be the alpha male and thinking of like, I need to be the alpha male, I need to be the top dog in the room or whatever. Don't think of it like that. A lot of guys take that shit too far, or they're counterproductive with that.
Yep.
After getting contact in first meeting a girl, after getting contact in first meeting, what leads to a date? Well, what leads to a date is you setting up the date and going for it. I mean, yeah, what usually leads to the date is you didn't really need much. The girl just needs to see you, that you're a cool guy, that you can carry a conversation, and that you're comfortable like showing interest and talking to her, and then just going for it. I mean, I don't think it needs to be too complicated. What do you think? Like, when it says after getting contact in first meeting, I feel like, does that mean? Yeah, I feel like the date should. It should be obvious that you're going on a date already if you get the phone number. You know?
Yeah. Well, what a lot of guys make a mistake on in the interaction is they're not setting the date right then and there in the interaction, which they should be. If you just say, hey, let me grab your phone number, we should hang out sometime, then you have all the groundwork and legwork to do over text. If you say, do you like coffee? Yeah, I love coffee. Cool. Put your number in my phone. She puts her number in. When are you free for coffee? Are you free tomorrow? Yes. What time? 3 o'clock. Okay. I'll see you tomorrow at 3. It's already done. Then you just send the confirmation text the night before and morning of. If you just take a number and you don't set any plans, then you have to have good texting, and you have to be persistent enough and follow up enough until your text sequences lead to a date being scheduled. But it's always better to do it in person, because she can't ignore you in person, right? Like if you send a text, she can just not respond. And the vibe has also died down by the time it's on text later on as well. So guys should be setting the date in the interaction whenever possible to, you know, do it while the vibe is up, and because she can't ignore your logistical and objection handling remarks. Do
you want to comment on this, or should I just skip this one? Because I feel like you might want to skip this.
You can email me at john@johnanthonylifestyle.com to coordinate that. john@johnanthonylifestyle.com.
All right. Yeah, go to email John. All right, no problem. Getting phone numbers is not equal to dates. What makes her come with you? Yeah. Getting a phone number does not equate to having a date. No, because a lot of guys don't even go for the date, or they fuck it up. So what makes the girl come with you is, we're just talking about that. It's like you obviously set it up before you get the phone number, and the phone number is just the bridge of the initial interaction to meeting you and you both want to hang out with each other. So what makes the girl want to come with you is because she's only gotten your number because you've made plans to meet up again, or she wants to meet you again, or there's some interest or attraction there, and she's curious about you, right? What is the wrong way to get a number is if you're making the girl feel like she has to give you the number for her to get away. Then you're just getting flaky numbers where the girl's just like, cool, you have my number, now I can leave. That's what you don't want. A lot of guys get those type of numbers.
And if you don't set the date in person, or she doesn't know her schedule or whatever, the way that you get the date from the phone number is you text her and you ask her out on a date, right? It should be intuitive, but you say, hey, let's meet up for such and such. When are you free? Over text.
What I meant was, okay, he's clarifying before. Mine was the process of you guys followed that took you from not knowing how to kill it at line game to figuring out with the pics, messages, or what works for online game. Well, for me personally, it was just like trial and error. When I first used Tinder, I didn't really know how to use it. I didn't really believe in it, and I was kind of like felt like I was forced to use it. And then, like, I had the first few lays from it, and I was like, oh, I can actually get laid from this shit. That's pretty good. And then I got more and more, and then I realized, okay, it's getting somewhat significant now. Maybe I should put some effort into this and maximize this so I can take it to the next level. And when I really started focusing on it and like trying to optimize every part of it, the texting, the photos, the how to optimize the algorithm of the dating apps, how to like sometimes it's like refresh the profiles, reset the profile, which dating apps to use in which city, and like the timing of when's the best time to be using the dating app, because there's a time to boost on Tinder that's more effective. And when I like figured all that out, it like amplified the results quite crazily, because it went from like every now and then a late online to like I could just get infinite numbers and leads from it. It just became like an infinite lead generation source. And prior to that, it was like maybe if I'm lucky, I can get a go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think one big game changer is having hot girls choose the photos, because we don't have female attraction circuitry as men. So when we just like look through our photo gallery, we're like, oh, I think this one looks good. I think that looks good. That's not necessarily one that's going to resonate as being maximally attractive for a hot chick. So what we have with our clients is we have them get a pro photo shoot and or an AI photo shoot. And then we have a team of hot girls that picks the top 5 best photos. So that way that they know those will perform when they put them on the profile.
And they can click the link in the bio to go and find out more about that.
Yep. Yeah, you guys can book a strategy call in the description.
How do I recover if I accidentally give someone the ick or I miss a social cue? You can use a statement of empathy and then immediately just change the topic and keep talking. I don't think like focusing on it is really necessary. Right?
Yeah.
It depends how big it is. If you've offended the girl and she's really angry, you probably just leave. Right? Just depends how serious it is. Right? But if it's just like a small little thing, you could just use a statement of empathy, a little small apology, and then just quickly move on. Don't focus on it. Don't quickly take the attention off of it. But if the girl's like really angry about it and won't let it go, or she's offended or whatever, you should just approach a different girl.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, you don't want to harp on it.
It obviously depends if you're talking about a date or a cold approach as well, because that's 2 different scenarios.
Or on a date, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you make a misstep or the girl gets offended by a remark or something like that, oh, sorry, I was just joking. Anyways, and you switch topic.
Yeah.
You don't want to fixate on it.
But yeah, I didn't realize that would offend you. Apologize, and then you just start talking about the next thing as if it's all good. You don't want to. Don't laugh on it, because if you laugh on it, the girl's going to think about it more, and it's going to become a bigger issue. A/B testing photos, messages. We talked about that. Yeah, you can use John service. You know, Bumble has this. If you buy the highest version of Bumble or Bumble Premium or whatever, they test your photos automatically now. I don't know how accurate it is, but they do tell you like which one of your photos is the best. So that is something, but it is like it's limited. It's very limited though. Yeah, they've just recently done it. They just give you like a bar and say this one is this much, this one is this much, this one's this much, this one's this much, and it just tells you which photo is getting the most matches, basically, or which one, whatever photo gives you more watch time on your profile. Because I think they measure how long someone looks at your profile based on what first photo you have, and they might give you like an engagement score or something. But it's all like it's not really clear how they define it. That's just my guess. How to build comfort and positive vibe when the other person is kind of shy, conservative, and reserved, like not interacting with guys at all. So in that particular situation, I feel like time is your ally. Just spend more time with her, encourage her to get out of her shell. Instead of telling her what she should do, you should demonstrate it. Try to like bring up her emotions. If you want her to be in an excited state, bring yourself into that state and encourage her to do it, but don't force her to do it. Don't be like you're weird, you should be more sexual. Why aren't you like more sexual? Don't be like that. Just like whatever level she's at, bring yourself slightly above it and make it easy for her to come a bit higher, and just keep it that way, I think. Yeah, it's not, you don't want to go all in at once with a girl like that.
I also will comment to them about how they're shy, and I think that like by calling out the elephant in the room, it makes them feel more comfortable. I'll be like, "Oh, you're not really saying much," or like, "You're not, you won't look me in the eyes. Like, are you really shy?" "Oh, sorry, it just takes me time to warm up to someone." "Oh, no problem."
Yeah,
right. And then they feel more comfortable.
The other day, I was going to kick out a girl of my house because she was in my room and she was really shy, and I literally misunderstood it for non-interest. So I just said, "Hey, look, like, I've got stuff to do. You're going to have to leave soon." And she's like, "Why?" And I'm like, "Look, well, there's no physical chemistry. We're not talking about anything interesting. I have stuff to do, so I'm going to just like do my business stuff." And she was like, "Oh no, it's because I'm really shy. I like you." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And I just continued forward. And after she said that, it was all good.
Nice.
So yeah, sometimes you can misunderstand it, right? But that was yeah. Sometimes I misread a girl's like awkward timidness for non-interest. It is sometimes hard to tell the difference. Usually you can tell, but this particular girl, I think well, obviously maybe I just wasn't these days I have so many girls wanting to meet. I just can't be bothered like spending forever trying to make something happen with the girl. But she pretty much when a girl qualifies herself and say, "Oh no, it's because I'm shy, I like you," she's qualifying herself to you. So now that she's qualified herself to you, she's going to actively try to improve and want you more. So she's going to probably start being more physical and sexual just because she qualified herself to you. So if you can get a girl to qualify herself to you and explain why she's shy and admit that she's still into you or it's all good, she's gonna probably try to amp up her own state for you, or at least like accept your state more. So you can like get girls to qualify themselves as well, I guess, if you do it in the right way. What if a girl persists on taking your number or Facebook? Oh, yeah, I know this. But you won't shoot. I won't give you number to you. Yeah, this is usually pretty flaky for the most part. When she won't message you and put it in the back burner and forget. Yeah. So when the girl says something like, "Oh, well, let me take your Instagram," and she won't like give you her phone number or whatever, and lots of the time that is because the girl just wants to get out of the interaction. But there have been circumstances for me where the girl took my number and did text me. And it's kind of weird because I'm thinking, oh, whenever a girl gets my number, that usually means it's flaky. It's not going to happen. And then the girl ends up texting me. But I either do one of two things. I'll say something like, I'll call it out. I'll say, look, I'd rather get your number because I know that you're a girl. You're probably going to forget. It's normal for me to text you first or whatever. And based on her reaction, it's going to be quite telling, because it'll be obvious if she's trying to hide the fact that she's not interested, or if it's just because of a weird rule she has. Because sometimes girls actually will text people and they just like, maybe they want to text you first, and if you can sense that's the case, you're like, oh yeah, cool. That's kind of weird though. It doesn't usually happen. Or if it's because she's like uncomfortable, whatever, you can kind of recalibrate to the situation, make her feel more comfortable, and kind of like give her a way out. Be like, look, I'll get your number. It's all good if you don't reply. There's no pressure here. I just want to get to know you. Maybe we have a connection, but don't worry, I'm not going to force anything. Blah blah blah. And that might help a lot, right? Because a lot of the times, because the girl's uncomfortable, you just need to figure out why she's doing that.
Yeah, usually any girl that won't give her number, it's usually because she had a bad experience in the past with a guy like stalking her or blowing up her phone. And so I'll usually say, oh, I promise not to stalk you or blow up your phone. And if they still won't give the number, then you default to something like Instagram. But yeah, the odds of her contacting you with you giving your number out are very low, like under 5%, even if she's interested. So that should only be a last resort if she won't do anything else.
Yeah. How much does height matter?
I've had plenty of clients that are over 6 foot that are not getting laid, that are on 10-year dry spells, that are virgins.
The thing is, this is crazy, because when you ask girls, does height matter, they always say yes. But those same girls, if they met like a charismatic, cool guy that was shorter than them, they would probably go for it. So it's usually because women like literally believe that they want a taller guy, but it's because society's told them to believe like that. But it's not. It can be broken totally.
I have a study that shows the average amount of partners for short, average height, tall, and very tall guys is all the same. It's all 7. So short guys are sleeping with as many guys as many girls as a tall, very tall guy. There was one minor difference. If a guy was very short, which they defined as 5'3" or lower, he sleeps with an average of 5. But again, that's not very much different. If you learn game as a short guy, you can sleep with hundreds if you want to.
Absolutely.
But yeah, guys make too much of a big deal. Like, I'm 6'4", so a lot of people think I'm hypocritical when I talk about how height doesn't matter that much. But I've had tons of short clients destroy. Like Connor on the team is 5'7", and he's over 1,000 leg count. I have lots of 5'4" and lower guys that achieve multi-hundred leg count and stunner girlfriends. So I tell guys, like, a tall guy has a giant pool of options, and a short guy has a giant pool of options as well. It's just a little smaller than the tall guys. But for all intents and purposes, it's still virtually unlimited options. So the big issue with being short is it becomes an issue to the guy himself. And he starts assuming that girls don't like him or that they don't want him because he's not tall. But go outside in public. There's tons of short guys with super hot girls everywhere, all around the world. And statistically, ultimately, it doesn't matter for the number of partners that you have if you're short or tall. And I've had plenty of clients, like I said, over 6 foot that are on 10-year dry spells, that are virgins, because being tall doesn't teach you how to run interactions or how to text or how to run dates or how to sexualize, so you're not friend zoned. All the major things you need to know, you still have to know if you're tall. So
yeah, a lot of tall guys are not crushing it at all.
Yeah,
definitely. Here's another one. It's about comfort game. Can you guys talk about comfort game? How do you form a deep connection with the lady? Make her stick around long term instead of that's one of the sticking points. You bag them and then they disappear. No genuine connection. Well, after you have sex with a girl, don't first of all, don't just kick her out straight away if you want a connection with her. Also, when you're inviting the girl for a second date or whatever, try to like do different things. Don't invite her to do the same thing every single time. That's another big thing. When you're with the girl after you have sex with her or whatever, try to be ask her if she needs anything, like she wants food or a drink. Sometimes it's literally as simple as like you didn't offer the girl a drink. You didn't like ask her how she's feeling. You didn't like, if she was hungry and you didn't ask. those things can just blow it out because you just didn't ask, and the guy's just like a clueless. Or sometimes, sometimes it's out of your control. She has a boyfriend, or she's just busy, or whatever. Sometimes you're just thinking it's your fault, and it's not. And then other times it is. Sometimes you're blown out because you had girl's hair in your bathroom and she saw it, or if she found like a condom wrapper, or yeah, or she found like a girl's headband or something on the floor or something. Any evidence, like a girl's ring or earrings, yeah, anything like that. The girl won't say anything.
You got to do it. I mean, this question's a little separate. I mean, if you get caught with about having other girl, I don't think most guys need to worry about that, but because they're not having sex with lots of girls. But like for us, you have to do a sweep like every time there's a girl over to get hairs off the bathroom floor and any like telltale things out of the trash that can be like makeup pads, condom wrappers, tampons.
I've had like what constantly I get is like the girl says, "What's that stain on your pillowcase?" I'm like, I don't know. And there's like a tiny bit of a tiny makeup smudge on there. She's like, "There's a girl in your bed. There's a makeup smudge
I have girls' makeup stains all over my couches because when I'm banging them doggy style, they're pushing their face into the couch.
Yeah, and then the next girl sees that, and she either says it directly to you, or sometimes they say nothing, and you're like, "Why did she disappear?" And then later on you find out that's the reason. And you're like, "Oh, it's just something so small."
Yeah.
You might have thought that you fucked the game up, but it wasn't. But yeah, this is probably not your issue. It's probably like maybe you're not listening to her. Maybe the girl feels like you don't understand her, because that's one thing I had when I first started game, was one of the lack of girls wanting to see me again. It's just a lack of empathy and understanding for the other person. I didn't listen to them up, like, because I'm trying to game them, trying to make everything happen. I'm so in my own head, I'm not even paying attention to how she feels. That could really affect it. And having good sex obviously helps. So try to please her, lick her pussy, make her come. A lot of guys say don't lick the girl's pussy, don't finger her, don't make her come. After you come, it's over. It doesn't matter. That kind of mentality will like cause girls not to
killer and Myron Gaines say, but they don't have a fucking clue. I'll add in a couple more points here. Like, so you should be setting the frame that you guys are going to hang out a bunch more, so that she doesn't feel like it was a cheap one-night stand. And you should also be giving her compliments that are not related to her physical appearance or to the sex.
Personality.
So like, it's really cool that you're into this and that, or that you have ambitions to do this and that. And then I build like deep rapport around any topics that we connect over. So I'll say, "Oh, I run a company and I DJ electronic music. Oh, I love electronic music," and then we'll bond over that and go deeper on that. Or if they like traveling, we'll bond over that and go deeper on that. And so I keep emphasizing how we have an amazing connection that's rare and special with all of them. So that they feel, you don't want them to feel like this was just a cheap hookup and that you got what you wanted and they might not hear from you again, or that they hooked up prematurely and they should feel slutty about it. So I try to reinforce the frame that we have a really good connection, that I appreciate her for all these non-physical, non-sexual reasons, and that we're going to hang out a bunch more in the future.
That's definitely what I do as well. When I sleep with a girl and I like her, I start pre-framing what we're going to do in the future, the next few dates, cool things we could do, what she likes, trying to like talk about exciting things we can do together to get her excited about dating me more before she leaves. Because I know when she leaves, I don't want her to only think, "Oh, I just fucked that guy. What else did I do?" I want her to think that the sex was amazing, but also I'm looking forward to seeing him again. He talked about this. This could be cool to do with him. He was nice to me. He's considerate. I didn't find any hair in his bed. Well, a lot of the time, that's the thing that fucks me personally. I know that's not the question, but the thing that personally fucks me is I didn't sweep good enough. I'm just lazy, and I like, yeah. But even when I do a sweep, there's like one little small thing I won't forget. Like there'll be like a hair ribbon. Like the girls have like a ribbon in their hair, and I won't even recognize it, but the girl does. And she's like, "What's that?" I'm like, "I don't know. I just thought it was like from something else." And she's like, "That's a ribbon from a girl's hair." I'm like, "Oh my god, dude! These girls see everything."
I'll blame the maid. I'll say, "Oh, it's the maids," or I'll say that I just had people over the day before, and my friends brought their girlfriends, and so it must be from one of their girlfriends. It's one of those like die with the lie thing where you. Well,
the extreme thing, the girl goes through the trash and then she finds like a condom wrapper at the bottom of the bin, or a girl's panty liner, or a girl's tampon at the bottom of the bin, and that's crazy that the girl would go through the bin to find that. But it has happened, because when the girl's already a little bit suspicious, they might actually look in the bin. They might go through it, and it's just and then they find it. Yeah, it's just it's better not to have that in there. A lot of the time, I didn't even like. I had a girl over, and she had a panty liner. I didn't know she had a panty liner, and I didn't think, oh, I need to look through the bin to see if there's anything in there, because I didn't think there was anything in there. But the girl had found it, and then she found something I didn't even know existed. You know what I mean? Sometimes that happens. It's crazy. It's crazy the stuff I got cop block from. And then there's other stuff I get cop block from, like my pickup Instagram comes up as a suggested friend on her Instagram. She's like, "What's this?" I'm like, "Oh shit, that's my pickup Instagram."
Dude, I've blown out a bunch of girls by messaging them from my company Instagram by accident, because I'll be like responding to people on the company Instagram posting stories, and then a girl will give me her Instagram on Tinder, and I'll just go at it without switching profiles first, and then they like go and look at my dating profile, and they see all these pictures with girls with Liz, and it's like a disaster.
Well, yeah, sometimes I take a photo with the girl, and there's a preview of the previous photo I've taken, and the girl looks at my phone screen, sees the previous photo I've taken, and they see another girl of me, and I'm like, oh shit, and I didn't realize the previous photo was me taking, and she sees it in the corner of her eye. I was like, what's that? I'm like, oh shit, dude. She's taking it, and I'm like, oh well, that's nothing. That's nothing. And I just like immediately like try to like just change the topic or whatever, because I know that if she looks in my gallery, she's gonna see like an absolute like collection of different girls, and I don't know, it's going to be hard to recover it from that point.
Yep.
You know, yeah, shit like that. So one time I had like a girl took photos of us, and she printed out these photos and she put it in my wallet, and I thought it was cute, so I left it in my wallet. And then like I had my wallet on the table, and like I guess the photos fell out of my wallet or something, and she saw the photos, or I don't know, the girl might. I'm not. It'd be weird for a girl to look through your wallet, but sometimes these girls find like a photo or something of like me and another girl, and it's like hidden away. They still find it, shit like that. You don't want any photos of you and girls in the room, you know, like portrait. You know, if you obviously don't have like photos of you and Liz just sitting in the room where you pull girls.
No, in my side place, there's nothing. There's a bed and a vibrator and mood lighting, and then like the couch, of course, and there's like beer and water in the fridge. That's it, like total. I don't have any clothes there. But I don't have a TV there.
So when I did that, when I had a side place of nothing, the girls would get suspicious that there's no clothes and stuff there. They're like, look, they'll say, hey, why are there no clothes here? Why does it look like? They'll say, why do I feel like? They say, why do I feel like this is your side hoe place? Because there's nothing here. This must,
I say that I rent. My backstory is I rent a house with two people on my team, an American and a Canadian. I came down to Brazil originally with American and Canadian 6 years ago, but I just use that as the backstory. It's really, I have a house that I rent with Liz and the dogs. But I say, I rent that place with two guys on my team, and I say it's two guys. And I have my dogs in the backyard, but it's too distracting because the dogs are loud and there's too much distraction. So I have a side place to do work. So I tell them that's my apartment to do work, and that's why there's no clothes here. And I don't put a TV so I don't get distracted. But not having a TV in the place where you bring girls is super clutch, because otherwise they'll put on fucking movies and shows and all that shit and just like hang out afterwards or even before hooking up, and it just like wastes time.
Yeah, there's nothing else to do, I guess. Yeah, the stuff I've said in the moment, because I haven't had to deal with that objection much, but when I've had to deal with it, I've been like I've like made up an excuse on the point, on the spot, and I said, when the girl says, why do I feel like this is a side hoe place? There's nothing here. There's no clothes. There's no wardrobe. There's hardly any like stuff to cook with. There's like no food. There's no groceries. It's just like a few beers, a few waters. What is this? I would say, I said that's because I've just moved places, and I'm in the process of moving my stuff in the house because it's in storage. I just lied. I'm like, oh, my stuff's in storage. I'm in the process of moving it in here. That's like what I could think of on the spot, but maybe yours is a bit more of a compelling story. But it kind of works, kind of. I want to ask, related to relationship, how to deal separation from deep attachment. How to
like breakups? Is that a breakup question? Sounds like
maybe. I feel like
I tell guys delete everything. Delete all pictures and block them on all forms of communication. That's the best way to get over a chick.
I don't do that personally because I like having proof of everyone I've been with, at least in my own mind. I like to.
Oh yeah,
I don't like.
yeah,
I don't look at it. I don't look at it obsessively, but it'd be a shame if I like have a hot girl and I just delete it. It's gone from existence. But
yeah,
in
I mean, you
terms
don't
of,
necessarily delete, you just can't look at. A lot of guys will be like looking at pictures and remembering the good
I mean,
times.
that's
And all
it.
that
I
stuff.
never look at them. I'm not lingering on old girls. But yeah, I think the best way to get over it is to go and meet more girls and find better girls. As soon as you find a girl that's equal or hotter than her, that has a good personality, she becomes irrelevant.
Yeah,
Especially over and
but
over.
guys stay stuck with the attachment by looking at old pictures, looking at the girl's social media, stalking her accounts, that kind of shit. And then like neurologically that like keeps you stuck because
Absolutely.
the semantic significance of like a neurological pathway is a function of frequency and recency. So the recency thing, that's why time heals it, because you're not seeing her anymore. But if you're continuously checking her shit, then it like keeps you perpetually stuck and unable to get over her. So you can't be checking her social media, you can't be looking at pictures of you guys, and you shouldn't be communicating with her either. That's another problem, is guys will still keep communication and then they can never get over the girl.
Just a reminder to guys, give this video the thumbs up. I never tell people to thumbs up my videos like really ever, but do it. Thumbs up the video, because the more thumbs up it gets, more likely it's going to get engagement. I don't know if YouTube works like that way anymore. Maybe thumbs up don't
likes
really
and
do anything.
comments
But
help exposure for sure.
yeah, but just like the video, guys. All you have to do is click a button. So it's it's the half a second it takes to do that. It's worth it for us. How can I differentiate between a woman who is naturally reserved, introverted, and who is using silence as a power play?
It's simply not going to be a power play. That's kind of a weird way to look at it.
If the girl's using silence as a power play, it's probably like she's probably pretty experienced, and it's probably not in a good way. She probably might be doing it in a sexual way, but I don't know. That's not really a big deal to me. If a girl is just like more confident and stuff, and she's more comfortable in silence and stuff, that's fine. I mean, I don't see it as like a big deal. I'm just talking to someone that is more comfortable in their own skin or whatever. But yeah, if she's like trying, if there's like a battle going on where she's like trying to like confront your frame or try to control the frame, that's not good. But that's a different kind of dynamic. That's different than what you're asking. But the real issue is like if the girl's trying to control the frame or trying to change the frame, I don't like that. That's usually the issue. But that's not your question. What's your advice for someone who is trying to work on his inner game? What's your advice to have good inner game confidence? Well, I feel like your inner game, when you sleep with more women, your inner game is going to get better. If you make more money, your inner game is going to get better. If you just change your lame group of friends that always like put you down, that aren't like higher up, that they're just low value friends, they're going to pull you down all the time. Like what normal friends that guys have, I'm not saying everyone has these friends, but a lot of friends, like when they notice that you're like reaching escape velocity of their friend circle and you're like increasing your value, they try to pull you back in and say, no, you're a piece of shit, come back. Or like, they try to like lower your value or bring you back down or like discourage you. So you want to eliminate those people from your life. With your inner game and stuff, I mean, some people do meditation, some people read books, some people do that stuff, but that's not the way I've done it. I just come from the frame that I believe I am enough. I believe that I'm good enough to get women, and I consistently go out and prove myself that all the time. So it's just obvious. But sometimes people focus all on inner game, but sometimes it's like people are like, oh, I'm the boss, I'm the best, and they keep telling themselves there's something, but they don't believe it. So it's important to work on your inner game and the outer game at the same time, because they go hand in hand together. Because if you tell yourself you're the boss but you never prove it, it doesn't like really match. Whereas vice versa, if you always go and get results but you don't have the inner game, it's not great either. You want to do them both together.
Yeah, I tell guys, like, as you get more success in the game, like matches, phone numbers, dates, hookups, rotation options. That's going to directly feed back on yourself and make you more confident and believe in yourself. But before that, right before you have those successes, I tell clients to write out their accomplishments, their cool experiences, their hobbies, their skills, and their interests. And then that will show you what separates you from other guys. And most guys like discount all the stuff that they have going for themselves, and they just give away all their power and think that they suck because there's hot girls that exist. But you have to believe in yourself. So if you write out that list of items, there's going to be real, tangible things that separate you from other guys and highlight what you bring to the table uniquely. And then that can help you to believe in yourself initially. And then as you start implementing proper strategy and getting smaller wins, it like literally kills all those old stories, those negative stories you were telling yourself your whole life. Oh, girls don't like me. That's not true. I just fucked a girl yesterday. I can't get dates. Oh, I have tons of dates this week, right? Et cetera, et cetera. So you have to like
I constantly remind myself.
Yeah.
I constantly remind myself of why I am awesome and shit. Like if I ever have like a limiting belief or like a bad thought, I immediately realize, okay, I had that thought, but that's wrong because of this. I immediately discredit it in my own brain. And then I might even use that as like a reason to like go and prove myself, like literally with an approach or take action to like prove it wrong. So it doesn't grow or whatever, right? I don't want the negative belief to grow at all. And I think some people do self-affirmations, like the positive, like where they look in the mirror and say positive things, or when they start the day, they say, oh, they say positive things about themselves. That can work. I don't really do that because I think it's kind of weird. But I feel like that can help guys that are coming from a bad place. But they definitely have to combine that with action. Because if they just do that with action, what's the point? They got to fucking take action and make it mean something.
Another important point here is that you have to come to terms with your flaws, guys. Like we all have flaws, we all have shortcomings, but most guys are letting those things define.
My head's receding.
Yeah, get a hair transplant. Me and Connor got
I can fix it.
I got the hair transplant in 2021. My hairline was receding a lot. So that was like 5 years ago. So I was like 37. Is that how old you are now? 36, 37?
Yeah. So I should take the same path as you.
Yeah, and Connor did it, and it was like one of the best. We both are super happy that we did that because our hairline was receding a lot. But don't let your shortcomings define you, right? The guys that are advanced or elite, we have flaws and shortcomings, but we don't let them consume us or define us. It's like, oh yeah, I'm not perfect, but neither is anyone else. Who gives a fuck, right? Versus, oh my God, girls won't like me because I'm short. Girls won't like me because of my hairline. Girls won't like me because of my age. Girls won't like me because of the amount of money I have in the bank and blah, 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 blah. And then the problem is you start presenting yourself as that piece of shit car again, right? Like I told a virgin client, he was like, well, girls respond positively to you because you've been with hundreds of them, and they respond negatively to me because I've been with 0. I said, we don't have our body counts on our head on a Post-it note. So they only know how you carry yourself. I don't get free handout pussy just because I banged 2,000 girls. If I come in weak and unsure myself, they're going to reject me a lot of the time. And conversely, if he comes in believing in himself, acting like the man, they're going to respond accordingly. So the secret is to come to terms with the flaws and shortcomings you have, and instead of like focusing on them and letting them bring you down and letting them define you, you just say, oh well, everybody has issues, nobody's perfect, blah blah. And the good news is the women respond to behavior anyways. The looks component, like at a maximum, is like 20%. So that's been proven with science and evolutionary psychology and stuff like that. So what the lion's share of the equation is how you carry yourself, how confident you are, how comfortable you are in your own skin, and how good your behaviors and your game strategies are. So that's where the focus should be, right? As long as you adhere to basic hygiene, basic grooming, and you don't get too overweight, that's most of the battle right there, right? And you can do minor aesthetic things. I did the hair transplant. I do Botox now. I did eye bag fillers, and but I had already been with 1,200 girls before I did any of that stuff, and that's not what's getting me laid. It just helps improve my pictures a little bit online.
Here's a question from someone I know, actually. How you doing, Riyadh? Do you consider there is an intermediate purgatory? If yes, how does shift become advanced? Yes, I do think there is an intermediate purgatory. It's usually because people have an ego, or they
Do you
have
want to
like.
explain what that means for people that are like?
So even an intermediate purgatory is when someone becomes intermediate at game, like they're okay at game, but they're not really that good yet. They get some results, but nowhere near as much as they could get, and they've stopped improving, and they find it hard to improve, or they don't know what to do. Usually, one of the main reasons this happens is because sometimes guys prematurely think they're good at game when they're not yet, and then they stop trying to improve and they think, yeah, I'm a boss now. And that might be because they've had like positive reinforcement from other guys at the intermediate purgatory telling them that they're the boss, and they just like have a circle jerk going on. It might be because they're only focusing on one element of game and they're not focusing at the bigger picture. So it might be the classic always go direct kind of guy, and they reach the intermediate, well, the cap of going only direct, basically. The London Daygame method is a good example. You get to the intermediate, and then you find yourself struggling to get further because the model of game you're using doesn't allow for much more than that. So I feel like a lot of guys could get higher if they just change what they're doing, kind of realize that there is a they're limited by what they're doing and the way they're thinking. And if they just change things up, maybe change their model of game, not necessarily always have to use the same lines and same routines, so they're getting them the same responses and the same results. If they did change that up, they're going to quite quickly break past that intermediate purgatory. But what's keeping them there is literally their attachment to what's gotten them. The attachment to what's gotten them the results in the past is now what's holding them back from being advanced.
Yeah. So my thoughts here are, it's not that everybody gets stuck in intermediate purgatory. It's usually due to, like Brad said, like being comfortable with the level you're at and not trying to progress, or not knowing how to progress. I think not knowing how to progress is more common. Like there's like coaches on YouTube, a lot of them that I firmly believe are stuck in intermediate purgatory. Like, you know, we don't need to shit talk, but I think a classic example is a guy like Aaron Alexander from Evolution Daily, right? Who's apparently quitting now because he doesn't get views on YouTube. He's like crying about that. But like, you know, I call a guy like that intermediate purgatory because I see his infield and it's not advanced. He's not able to demonstrate a high level of skill.
For the record, I love you, Aaron, if you're going to watch this.
Yeah, no, we don't need to get into bashing. But, you know, there's certain coaches and students that are stuck at that level, and they call it a purgatory because they're not advancing to advanced because of a skill gap that exists. There's certain flaws in their system or their methodology that aren't being resolved, and so they're continuing to go into the interaction and make the same mistakes over and over and over that don't allow them to play the game at a high level, right? Like, so it's flaws that exist, but it's also guys that are getting too comfortable with where they're at.
I like to reference the London Daygame method as a prime example of that, because I feel like that's what usually happens with their model. Usually guys learn their system, learn it as much as they possibly can, and then they're stuck at intermediate and they never progress. And that's usually the case. With all my students that have done the London Daygame method, they get some results. Maybe they get stuck at a 20 lay count, 30 lay count, and they can't really get much more than that. They get a few lays, but they're not getting much. And it's
London Daygame model is fundamentally flawed. It essentially is, hello, I just saw you over there. First of all, they're always mentioning they just saw them, which is obvious. I just had to come tell you that you're hot and blah, blah, blah. And sometimes they add in like some kind of excuse, like, don't worry, I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm not trying to convert you.
I'm not crazy while they have their hands up in the air like this, standing from the goal. I'm not crazy.
I don't normally do this, but I just had to come over here and tell you that you're hot because I saw you and I had to come and ask for your number. And it's just cheesy and it's too forward, you know, and the girls usually like, oh, okay. And then they usually say some other dumb lines.
The first text message is, are you usually so flirty with strangers after they're the one that was being really flirty? It's just like, yeah. It's like, that's like the usual first text message. Are you usually real flirty with strangers? Text like that. It can get beginners a little bit of results, and it can get them, out there, but it's not going to get you that far.
But then they're also doing other fancy, gimmicky, cheesy things after the opener. Like James Tusk he'll start saying next, like he'll be like, oh, like you look like you're Persian or whatever, and they'll be like, no, and he'll be like, you should be riding around on a magic carpet, right? Or oh, I saw you just standing over here wobbling around on your peg legs like a pirate, and the girl's like, what are you talking about? You know, it's just like they're trying too hard to be clever and witty. But the opener itself is retarded. It's always, I had to come say hello and tell you you're hot because I saw you. The girl knows by virtue of you approaching that you find her attractive, right? And they know that you saw them because you came and talked to them. So you don't have to say that stupid shit.
It's impossible not to see them if you talk to them. Yeah. So that's, and then they point at, I saw you from over there, and they point back to their friends. And it's like, bro.
The friends are all watching.
Yeah, that's always happens. I saw you from over there, and they point to their friends, and their friends are all like, and it's like, bro, this is like 101 how to like make the girl feel uncomfortable immediately.
Oh no! Usually in their infields, in the London Daygame model, the infields, the girls are all super weirded out and cringed out.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what intermediate purgatory means. Like you're stuck at intermediate, you're not advancing for long periods of time, and you probably never will advance.
Hmm.
And the shift required is like proper training and like undoing all the stupid shit you're doing. What are the subtle micro behaviors men do that they're over efforting? Well, you should never be trying too hard in any aspect of the game, right? Like one of Mystery's mantras is like nothing is ever a big deal. So if it looks like you really are trying very hard, it signifies again that you're lower value, because you wouldn't need to be trying hard and desperately needing to make something happen if you're on her level and assuming she likes you and that you're good enough. So try hard stuff is like everything that falls under the category of fancy, gamey, gimmicky behavior.
Yeah.
RST, Todd V style.
Here's another question. Why does her attitude trigger a need in me to perform or impress her? I feel like that, yeah, you don't want to be trying to always impress a girl or please her or whatever, because then you're going to be like automatically seeking her reaction or seeking her approval in some extent. And when you start doing that, if you don't get what you're seeking, if you don't get her approval or you don't impress her, you're going to devalue yourself and then feel lower because of it. And that's not a good fundamentally good place to come from. So yeah, you want her to feel good, obviously, but you shouldn't feel the need to impress her, because first of all, why do you need her to be impressed? If it doesn't work, that's normal. You can just move on to the next one.
They need to impress her in order to get her.
Not every girl is going to like you. That you should just accept that, and that's great. The sooner you learn that, the better. And second of all, if you're trying to impress a girl and it doesn't work, you feel like you failed, and then the girl's going to sense that, and it's just going to be like weird, and you're going to like communicate lower value behavior. She's going to sense that, and it's going to blow out the interaction like non-verbally, I guess. So. Yeah, there's different ways people do that. Sometimes guys they prod the girl for reactions, or sometimes they seek validation. Sometimes when they say something, they want a certain reaction from the girl and hope that the girl compliments them back, or hope the girl smiles. And if they don't get the smile or the thing they wanted the girl to say, they feel like they're a piece of shit, and then they get negative, or they have this like sudden like feeling like, oh, like that they failed. Alex actually taught me something to do with that. This one thing I credit for Alex. When you're in a situation where you really need a reaction from a girl and you can't really help it, that the girl's really hot, and you just hope that when you say something that she reacts well to it, he says, just look away and don't look for the reaction, because if you look away, you can't even see the reaction. And that was something that helped me get over it pretty quick. And that's something I did since. I don't really care anymore. I don't give a fuck about the reactions as much as I used to. But when I did look for the reactions, that was like a quick little thing I did, was just to not look. Look at the exact time I'm looking for reaction. It's just to not look at them directly, and then I can't feel butthurt about it because I didn't see it.
Yeah, I mean, personally, like I came from mystery method background, and everything was centered around never trying to brag or impress when you're demonstrating higher value. It's always like embedding it in stories and not making it the focus, so that you're not looking try hard, you're not trying to impress. So I was already conditioned that way in the way that I talk to them anyways. So you have to really believe that you're on the girl's level and that she's not above you and you know, not superior to you. It's not that you think that you're better than her, it's just you think that you're good enough for any girl exactly how you are, which therefore makes it so you don't have to try to perform or impress her. That's like the core fundamental belief.
This guy's asked this question twice on 2 different live streams. I don't know who the fuck that is, but do you know who the fuck this is?
GLL is a good-looking loser.
Oh, this is old school shit. I think he staged a lot of stuff. I don't know. He's really tall. He's like 6'8" or something, that guy.
No, but I think this guy Scotty is one of his coaches. He's shorter.
Oh, cool. I don't know.
Based in Miami.
I got no idea, man. I never watched their stuff, but I did see that the people did like critiques on the good-looking loser back in the day and made him look pretty bad. But because he went into a grocery store and started like hugging this girl, and she was like, "No, stop!" And then he says in the breakdown, "You have to hug her more." And I'm like, it's just a little cringe, but that's got to be like 15-year-old infield or something.
Yeah, and also like I heard one of those good-looking loser guys say that like all approaches are equal. Like as long as you're taking action, that's good. And I completely disagree with that. I think that there's certain approaches that are far better than others, obviously, and just taking action is not a measure of success on its own.
Yeah, this guy appreciates the Paul Janka. He's not here.
Yeah, I pulled Paul out of retirement. He's coaching boot camps for me now in Europe. The dates again are Amsterdam, June 5th, 6th, and 7th, and London, July 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Both of them are Friday through a Sunday. You'll do multiple night game and day game sessions with Paul Janka himself. And for those of you that are newer to the manosphere, even in the past 15 years, you might not know who he is, but he was one of the original legends. Like the 2 big heavyweights in the earlier days were Mystery and Paul Janka, I think. I mean, Mystery for night game and Paul Janka for day game. Both guys are incredibly intelligent and allowed guys like Brad and myself to stand on the shoulders of giants and make this our career and our livelihood and our whole life, basically.
I appreciate them for getting the ball rolling for everyone.
Yeah, endless respect to those guys, because when they were figuring shit out, there was no playbook, there was no fundamentals to follow. It was like there wasn't even a community yet. Guys like Ross Jeffries that helped popularize seduction as a system and making a community with the early message boards in the 90s and that kind of shit. We're lucky, with all the gloom and doom from Red Pill and Black Pill about how supposedly it's the hardest time to date in the history. I firmly believe the direct opposite. I think dating has never been easier, and it's never been easier to have unlimited dating options between the online dating apps, between social media, between text messaging and Uber. All that stuff facilitates what we're doing here. Imagine if imagine without any online dating, like me, Brad, and Connor, Paul Janka, Mystery, we had to cold approach. There was no other option. There was no online dating to default to or use as a backup if you were scared to approach. And before texting, you had to just call chicks. Like my uncle, who was a big player in like the 80s, just fucking calling and leaving shit on voicemails. So between texting and online dating and Uber, to be shuffling them back and forth, especially multiple girls at once, coming and going, it's just all facilitated things to make it much easier. Like if you look at, by contrast, a guy like Casanova, the great Italian seducer, I shouldn't say only, but he only slept with 143, and it's because he didn't have online game and texting, right? And now with these tools, you're able to sleep with over 1,000. It still requires a lot of effort and time and skill, but you shouldn't listen to these modern looks maxing guys that say, if you're average looking or below average looking, it's over for you, or if you're below a certain height, it's over for you, or Tinder's rigged or cold approach is dead. That's all bullshit. right? I have tons of clients getting laid every day from Tinder, from cold approach, and all you need to do is
Me
just
too,
train
bro.
with the proper coach.
One,
And
one of my recent clients said, to me he wished he found me earlier because he was getting coaching from Dan Brazilian for like years, and he said just from 2 weeks of learning from me, he's already learned more than Dan Brazilian taught him in 2 years. So he's
of
like,
course,
his biggest
Dan
regret
Bilzerian
is
just
not
pays.
finding
Dan
me
Bilzerian,
sooner. That's what he said.
Dan Bilzerian has been caught paying girls countless times in court
Yeah.
records, court documents, and anecdotally,
Well,
countless
these guys
times.
don't care about you. They just want your money. They don't care about you, right? Whereas we actually we've learned this shit.
Yeah, Dan Bilzerian is a complete fraud. He was caught just using his criminal father's trust fund money to pay for women. That's it. And when that ran out, he started misappropriating his company funds from the company Ignite to spend on girls and parties. And I know people that hang around in his circles, and everybody's on the payroll, even the dudes that hang around him. So that's completely pathetic. It's all a facade on social media, and now he's just hawking it as a fake dating coach with his Sigma Society bullshit. It's all bullshit. But yeah, I hear the same exact thing. I wish I found you sooner. And it's usually guys that failed for years or even over 10 years with other coaches or another coach, and then we fix the problem very quickly in the first week or two. It's always like that. It's the difference between a system that works and a system that's snake oil.
It's because we've gone through this the real way. We haven't gone through this with money and power or fake.
You can't fake putting in the blood, sweat, and tears for 2 decades.
Yeah, because he went about it a different way. He's got all the money and everything, so he doesn't really know the process from the ground, and he doesn't really care about people either. And that's unfortunately not just true for him, for many people, for the vast majority of people. Dare I say 90% of the coaches out there. I don't want to say like everyone, but yeah, there are people out there that care, that don't know how to help you, and they're like, they have a good heart, but they don't have the game. But then there's people out there that are even worse, that don't know how to help you and they don't care. That's even worse.
And there's a ton of that,
right?
Because they come in a predatory way and just capitalize on people's suffering.
Yeah, that's the norm these days, and it's just getting worse, bro. If only we could bring back we could redo history and bring back. Well, I mean, I don't think it was ever perfect, like, but there have been some legit guys in the past that are obviously gone. Like Cool Jank, obviously, is definitely one of the OGs that's legit. He knows what the fuck he's talking about.
Yep.
This guy says that he doesn't know about you, but now he's happy that he knows about you, and he's followed you. So
yeah, you guys can follow me on Rumble. My YouTube channel got banned after almost 9 years. I had thousands of videos, but I'm posting daily on Rumble. The link for that's in the description. I think we got through most comments. I think Liz wants me to run out and give food. You want to wrap it up then?
All right, guys. Well, I appreciate everyone tuning in. I feel like you guys really do like having John on the channel. Some of you guys shit talk him. I don't really care. You guys can shit talk anyone you want, but the views don't lie. When John comes on, we get more engagement, and people. It ends up being a smoother live stream, and everything's cool. So I feel like that's more important than some random person that has like a ego problem with someone. So, I feel like John's great on the channel, and we're going to have him on here more. If you guys can, if you guys want to have us do like once every month or twice a month, we can do that. But I'm going to have him on like more because I think this is good. And
and Brad's coming on my channel as well on Rumble. We did like a 5.5 hour stream going through all the major cities around the world that we've been to. And going over
that was epic. That's for dating, bro. That's like a product. We literally made like what people charge $1,000 for. We just did it in the live stream.
Yeah. So make sure you check out. We're gonna keep doing streams on my channel with Brad as well. So make sure you check out my Rumble channel. But yeah, man, thanks for having me. If anybody wants to train with us, we have a link in the description for a free 30-minute strategy call, live boot camps, virtual mentoring, etc. So go check that out in the description. But yeah, man, always a pleasure.
Yeah, pleasure, man. Awesome, man. And just side note, I fixed the checkout for because I got banned on Stripe, but I have fixed it now. I've linked it to another payment processor. So anyone that's interested in getting Daygame Seduction or all my old videos that were deleted, You can go get them now because the payment process is up again. I know people are targeting, trying to get me banned everywhere, but I have found a new one, so I'm using that now. So go, if you've been looking to get that, you can go get that. Link in the description below as well. But yeah, guys, thank you for tuning in, and we'll be back soon with another live stream. See you later.
Thanks, guys.